should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, I'm so sorry for having to reschedule.
Hello.
Okay. I was like, why does it look like it's not sounding right? Y'all let me know if like you can't hear me very well. Um, Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry for having to reschedule. We had to go do some errands this morning and then we had to come back and we're trying to sell a vehicle and somebody's coming. I had to get it out. Okay. Lord, what is it? Now that I've got my microphone connected, something's talking. Okay, good to see y'all. Thank you so much for patiently waiting. You guys are amazing. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Can you hear me? Okay, you said it's good. You's good? Nope. On channels like this one, it says screen name, and the channel's name newer to like J is for justice, says my name. Oh, yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I'm gonna try to fix it. 'Cause I like it to say names too. I've gotta figure that out. Okay, good to see you. Thank you so much, Jenny Jen, for being here. Rosie, Kim Gettle, Miss Piloa's mom, Cindy from sunny South Florida. Good to see you. Mustang, Anders, and Commander Turkey. Commander Alpha Turkey. Good to see you. One sunny day, and my lovely Cara. Good to see you. Cracker Jacks. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Carrie Myers and Hannah UK. Thank you so very much for being here. Southern Cats. Good to see you. Hannah UK. Wolfpack, good to see you. And Dandelionness, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Tammy Mayfield, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Doo, 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 doo. I'm so sorry that I made y'all wait. Chicky, good to see you and thank you for being here. Miss King of Anything, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I'm so very sorry that I had to make y'all wait. We just had to get that stuff done this morning and we should be done now for quite a while with doing stuff. Trying to get ready to move and all, you know. You know how it goes, I'm sure. Ava Sim, thank you for being here. I'm new to YouTube, actually watching channels and not just trying to figure out a spot in a video game. Good to see you. Edith, good to see you. Hey, Chow, good to see you. Good to see you. It is great to see y'all. Again, I cannot thank you enough for patiently waiting. You guys are so very awesome. I love our speculating family. You guys are amazing. All right, we've got a few things to talk about. Like I said in the chat, today's stream will be kind of off the cuff because I literally sat down about 5 minutes before I was supposed to go live. I thought I had about 30 minutes left and I didn't realize I had taken as much time as I had. So it will be completely off the cuff. However, I do have stuff like in the background. Rhonda, good to see you. And Chuckalegs, good to see you. I do always have stuff that I keep kind of in the back um already ready to go that we could talk about. I just am not quite ready to talk about it, but we can talk about it if we need to today. The attack in UK, thankfully no one passed. One is still in critical condition. The attacker remanded in custody, but had been multiple other incidents with the attacker and Stabby before the train. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's horrible. I'm glad everybody's okay though. Mrs. O, good to see you. Oral surgeon. Oh, okay. I hope everything goes good with her. The police missed the chance to arrest him multiple times. What the hell? Oh, thank you for that. I didn't even realize I had said that on the live that it was her birthday. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, welcome in all new channel members, visitors, and haters. Thank you for that, Cindy. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to twinkle, twinkle to the thumbs up while I go grab my drink with the quickness. Hold on just a minute.
Come on, players, stop hating. Stop hating. Start participating. Start participating, Star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Looking for my drink. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. All right. We got a few things to talk about. I saw something as the intro was coming that just infuriated me. Thank you for bringing me the one that was already open. Okay. I saw something that infuriated me just now. Gobble, gobble, baby. Gobble, gobble, baby. She's 10. She is actually the baby. She was 10. We had a good day. She got her little birthday cake and we did some they had we went to Walmart and I got her some things there. I got her cake. I couldn't remember if she said cake or cookies, so we got both. And then the Halloween stuff was marked down and they had these two little pumpkin like streamer firework things that we went outside and set off. It was good. Definitely good. Good, good, good. I don't know how to make videos or I'd have made her one. My grandson loved the one. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. You don't got to worry about that, sweetheart. I appreciate it. And consult, she's got to get 4 teeth out. Poor thing. Poor baby. Okay. So, yeah, I saw something that just infuriated me. Let me see. We might grab something else first. Yeah, let's watch this real quick. Something happened with like some kind of Halloween terror plot or something. I don't know what what's going on here, but something about a Halloween terror plot that never existed. Um, Let me grab my timestamp and we'll see what this is talking about. I was like, what are we what I'd seen it a couple of times. It might tell us about this week. I gotta grab one more thing, but I'm gonna be listening as we watch this video real quick. What is my timestamp? 13:25. Okay. So yeah, I want to learn about this Halloween plot that supposedly never existed with y'all. Let's see what this is about.
I think it's important, military to military, that we have that relationship. And the tone was set at the top. And President Trump has engaged and has a great relationship with Chairman Xi. And Admiral Dong and I believe that we should have the same.
Okay, this is just a headline page. So it's titled Halloween Terror Plot Patel Described Never Existed, says a lawyer. And I don't want to get political. I'm just kind of curious as to what this Halloween terror plot is. The article reads, a defense attorney in Michigan is pushing back on the FBI's allegation that his client and a group of young men arrested Friday were planning to carry out violent attack over the Halloween weekend. FBI Director Kash Patel announced the arrest of multiple people Friday who he said were plotting a potential terrorist attack. He said more details would be forthcoming. Amir Mokhled, the lawyer for Dearborn, Michigan man who was still detained Saturday, said he hasn't gotten many details about the case, but he told the Associated Press that after reviewing the matter, he doesn't expect any charges to be filed. He said he concluded no terror attack was being planned. Quote, I don't know where this hysteria and this fear mongering came from, unquote, Mokhled said. Quote, if these young men were on forums that they should not have been on or things of that nature, then we'll have to wait and see. But I don't believe that there's anything illegal about any of the activity they were doing, Mokhled added. Two people briefed on the matter said the investigation involved online chat room discussions with some people taken into custody. They spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. So I wonder what this plot was about. Anders is so funny. Hey Zan, it's an Epstein distraction. Too bad real people have to pay the price. Uh-oh. They sure were bringing a lot of evidence out of that house for it not to be something. I think they're pissed that Patel let the cat out of the bag too quick. Maybe. Anders, you always come in with some craziness. I don't believe that you don't smell your own farts, Anders. My daughter just said, bro, what? Anders always talking about farts and scrotums. Keeps us laughing. Hey, Hio, good to see you, love. Good to see you. Good to see you. You're Kate? Well, you can be Kate today. That's okay. I'll call you Kate. Okay, continuing with the article. Two people briefed on, I apologize. They said a group of men, which Mokhled described as an all-male group of U.S. citizens who are gamers and range in age from 16 to 20, discussed carrying out an attack around Halloween, referring to it as Pumpkin Day. Investigators say the attack was inspired by Islamic State group extremism. One person familiar with the investigation said it wasn't clear whether the group had the means of carrying out the attack, but the reference to Halloween compelled FBI officials to make arrests on Friday. That's interesting. It was blue, the arrest of multiple people. Let's see what this says. So this is an ex post from Cash Patel, and it says this morning, which would have been Friday, the FBI thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple subjects in Michigan who are allegedly plotting a violent attack over the Halloween weekend. More details to come. Thanks to the men and women of the FBI and law enforcement everywhere standing guard 24/7 and crushing our mission to defend the homeland. Very, very interesting. Intriguing. Hey, Crystal. They do. They do. Lorianne, good to see you. Crotums are pretty funny. Anders keeps us laughing. All right. Now that I have gotten everything situated, so I guess I'm gonna have to grab another pen. I wanted to talk about something that I just saw and am astonished by. Like, I can't believe this. I'm kind of upset, and I'm very interested in what this is going to say. Hey, Abellis, good to see you, my love. Good to see you. Good to see you. Clara said, "Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see y'all. Thank you for being here." So you remember these four fuckheads that like I think they were the ones that were locking kids under the bed in like cages and shit. Yeah, well, evidently the damn charges have been dropped. Charges dropped against family accused of treating children like slaves. Excuse me? Not having it. I am not having this bullshit. No, there wasn't a scrotum joke yet, but Anders usually has one or two in his arsenal. The public will never be happy no matter what. What if it had been something bad and they hadn't acted on it? You're right, Wolfpack. Right. I remember when this case broke, we talked about it briefly. I think this is one that Hio had talked a bit more about. So this is from Lake City, Florida. It says prosecutors have dropped charges against a Florida family accused of treating children like slaves after investigators determined the initial complaints were nothing more than salacious gossip. Okay, how that you had to go in that house and see that there was some kind of cages or something to that effect under the bed. Like you didn't just take them in because somebody said something. There was some type of investigation that happened and you filed charges. Like, what do you mean? Are you serious? Angela said, "Are you serious? This might be the reason I couldn't find anything." Maybe. Okay. I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out and send it to myself. So it says left to right, Brian Griffith, Jill Griffith, Dylan Griffith, and Liberty Griffith from Columbia County Sheriff's Office. Brian and Jill Griffith, along with their adult children, Dallin and Liberty, have faced charges of aggravated child abuse after their arrest in July. Then, on October 31st, prosecutors in Columbia County stated that in the interest of justice, they would not pursue prosecution. Investigators interviewed 9 children who lived in the home, who reported that some of them were caged under a bed with plywood screwed in place to prevent escape. In a statement announcing their decision to drop charges, prosecutors said that the Griffith family's defense presented, quote, copious evidence, unquote, that the child in question had a history of violence against other children, adults, and animals, and has since been removed from the family home. Quote, a jury would be asked to consider a poor family, devout in their faith, and raising 9 minor children in a small home, addressing the situation in a manner they deem appropriate to ensure the safety and security of the alleged victim, and also to ensure no acts of violence were perpetrated against other children, unquote, prosecutors said. Quote, the state cannot refute such an argument. quickly, the end of the article says, addressing allegations that the adults had sprayed the children in the face with vinegar, prosecutors said the discovery process revealed the solution used in the spray bottle was a diluted homemade version of, quote, sassy spray, unquote, which court documents describe as, quote, a modern version of soap in the mouth, unquote. Okay, y'all, I get that there's 9 children. Yeah, how did you get arrested on it? First of all, because the police aren't gonna arrest you without charges, but from what I'm understanding, hold on. From what I'm understanding, yep, Florida. Stephanie Garrett, good to see you. From what I'm understanding, this child was hold on. Has a history of violence against other children, adults, and animals, and has since been removed from the family home. They've got a child who, okay, first of all, that child needs some serious therapy and counseling, because for them to be acting out like that, hurting other people, adults, children, and animals, there's some deep rooted something going on there that child needs some help in understanding and trying to deal with. There's some trauma of some sort. Okay. Um, Regardless, why is it okay if you couldn't deal with that child and the child is now removed from the home? Why did we resort to locking the child under a bed in a plywood cage before we took the child out of the house? Number one. Number two, you can't do that. Like, I mean, you just can't fucking do that. Like, we're not filing what's going on with like CPS knows that you had a cage under the bed, and because you presented evidence that you copious amounts of evidence, to quote the article, that the child was hurting people and animals, okay, whatever, let you can go home now. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Shelby, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, future psychopath, but we need to try to like help him or her. What the fuck's going on? My kids made up stories like my youngest, he's 23, fell off my cousin's treadmill and rug burns. He went to school and told teachers that I was letting my daughter put him in the oven. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you're good, Dora. We only talked about it for a second, but if you need to go, that's cool. Um, I don't I mean, okay, I don't know how to tell you to deal with a child like that, because I don't know. My advice would be serious counseling, possible inpatient therapy where, they're kept in a facility to deal with some trauma that's going on or something. But like, we can't just be locking kids in cages either and just letting people walk out of jail for that. Like, that's not acceptable either. So I mean, I feel like they should at least be charged for that. And um, I don't think CPS gets down with the whole soap in the mouth thing anymore either. I mean, I don't know, but I would think not. Jerry, good to see you. She said, and that I was watching her light my cigarettes and put them out on him. Lots of stories they made up. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, Kim. I don't think this child made up a story, but I mean, I think from what I'm gathering, it was true. Except the vinegar was a sassy spray that they had put soap in the bottle. And yes, they can be religious or whatever, but again, going as far as to build a cage for a child that's hurting people and animal. Like, I get that you've got to keep the child from hurting the animals and the people in the house. I get that, but there's a different answer than making a cage. Come on now. Cindy said the child needs serious help, the parents need jail, and they all need Jesus. CPS needs to be held accountable. I agree. 100%. 100%. There are inpatient treatment facilities for children with serious mental health issues, and that's what should have happened. Not a damn cage under the bed. They're grown now. This was early childhood, like pre-K to first grade. That's crazy. Your children have some active imaginations. My kids spread a 2.5 kilogram bag of flour in the house. Then I had to bathe kids after 5 hours of cleaning. Then the boys missed their nap. Oh my goodness, you're having a hard day. I'm sorry, Shelby. From Cindy from sunny South Florida. Crackerjack says putting a child in a cage reinforces everything the child thinks about himself. Right. Exactly. That's a good point. Like you're putting a child in a cage to keep them from hurting animals and hurting others, and you're caging him like an animal. Like, how do you think that's helping? Because it's not. I don't. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't know how we dropped all the charges and just let them walk out. CPS would be a better idea than a cage. Exactly. I made up stories about my twin. I don't have a twin. You're funny. Why are the older children allowed to abuse their siblings? Another great question. Then I missed my meds. Oh my goodness, Shelby, you're having a bad day. I'm sorry, honey. So again, they said a jury would be asked to consider. This is basically what they would present to a jury. This is a poor family, devout in their faith. They felt like this was the only option that they have. There's 9 children in a 3-bedroom house, and addressing that situation in a manner that they deemed appropriate to make sure that everybody in the house and all the animals in the house were safe. They put this child in a cage under the bed. And the state cannot refute such an argument? Like, but I feel like you could. Kind of feel like you could refute that argument. I hope that CPS, I mean, I'm hoping that they said, I mean, at the very least, while we can't press charges specifically, CPS is heavily involved. I don't know. It's concerning. I remember a story like this when I was young, and happened down the road from where I lived. 2 babies in a baby bed turned into a cage. It was so sad. The parent got a lot of time for it. That's awful. Have you seen the story of that one girl? Oh my God, we watched it a while ago. That like her parents just put her in a room and never showed her love or affection or anything. Like, and she had to learn how to talk. Um, it's a crazy story. Um, Angela said, so wow, so it's not about the children. This is insane. It is. It does remind me of the Turpins case too. I told my parents I knew I had one. Their Pikachu faces didn't help. I was convinced. That's funny. Very savage. I agree. Like, I don't quite understand that. I feel like more should have happened in that case. All right, so now we have another case. Oh, we're at 30. Good news. A hunter was found alive after being missing for 3 weeks. We can talk about that. This is from ABC News. It says, a California man who left home on a hunting trip and then vanished for 20 days has been found alive and in relatively good condition. That is good news.
This morning, an incredible story of survival. A California hunter has been found alive after being stranded in the Sierra wilderness for 20 days. Authorities say 60
in Sierra wilderness, and he's from Fresno County. I think the parents should get the same punishment, right, Jerry? If they had to get the same punishment, they probably wouldn't do this kind of shit. Why adopt them if you can't afford them? Another great question. Another great question. Rosie says, Shelby, breathe in and out and remember it's just flour. Kids are kids, and take a minute. If you have a backyard, go out there, let them run around while you sit and try to catch your breath. God is great. Yes. I'm sorry you're going through that, Shelby. Everyone, please smash the like button for Jessica. Thank you so much, Crystal. All right.
5-year-old Ron Daly disappeared on October 13th after failing to return home from what was supposed to be a day-long hunting trip. His family then contacted the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, kicking off a massive search and rescue operation, which became even more urgent as the days passed. His family
Don't be stupid, computer. Yeah.
Channel 9 Eyewitness News takes you live.
Hold on, we got a 15-second ad. I'm glad he was found alive. Could you imagine, like, your husband's only supposed to be gone for a day, and 20 days later, he still hadn't been
says
located?
Daley only had enough food to last him 2 weeks and was without his diabetes medication.
I'm praying to the Lord, you got to send somebody up here to me.
Speaking out from his hospital bed, Daley explaining he got lost after taking a wrong turn and ended up in rough, unfamiliar terrain. He says his truck eventually broke down, leaving him with no choice but to walk and find help.
I go, well, this is it. We're on 2 days of hunting. You either try to walk out or you're going to sit here and die.
Along the way, he lost his phone and had no way to call for help. But on Saturday, a group of hunters spotted Daley. He says he hadn't eaten in almost a week.
I raised my head up. There's a car with headlights on it. And I go, oh, God, thank you, Lord.
His family overwhelmed with
goodness.
relief, calling his survival nothing short of a miracle.
Thank God that he was able to, I mean, he hadn't eaten in a week, y'all. That's crazy. Just right in the nick of time, a car came. Tammy said Florida allows foster parents a full-time job taking children, looked to adopt, but was pressured to become a foster parent. Really? That's interesting, Tammy. Yeah, good news for a change. I hope not. Yeah, that is one hell of a life-changing experience. I'm glad he was found alive.
Thank you for everyone that prayed for our family and for Ron. I do believe in miracles, and this is one.
His wife and daughter say they are going to be focused on his health, and they add, no more hunting for Ron.
Excuse me, they said, you ain't going hunting no more ever again. Absolutely not. Lord of mercy. Okay. Let's jump over here and talk about the celebrities real quick. Let me pull it up. It would help if I pulled it up, wouldn't it? So, Millie Bobby Brown is filing a bully complaint against David Harbor. I don't know if you know who he is, but it'll probably show him. I found this interesting, and I'm wondering what the hell's going on.
Millie Bobby Brown, one of the stars of Netflix's Stranger Things, reportedly filed a harassment and bullying complaint against her co-star David Harbor before filming began on the show's 5th and final season.
Wait a minute, is that 11? I gotta back this up.
Millie Bobby Brown, one of the stars...
That's 11. That's 11 from Stranger Things. That guy, yeah, okay. I thought so. That guy has been in quite a few movies.
Stars of Netflix's Stranger Things reportedly filed a harassment and bullying complaint against her co-star David Harbor before filming began on the show's 5th and final season. According to the Daily Mail, Brown's complaint was lengthy and included pages and pages of accusations against Harbor, who plays Chief Jim Hopper. A person familiar with the situation clarified that none of the accusations were sexual, but that the investigation into the claims lasted for several months. The results of the inquiry have not been made public. Representatives for Netflix, Brown, Harbor, and the show's creators Matt and Ross Duffer have all declined to comment on the matter. Brown, who plays 11 in the series, has shared many scenes with Harbor throughout the show, making the situation particularly notable for fans. The report also came at a difficult time for Harbor, whose ex-wife Lily Allen recently released an album that appeared to reference their troubled marriage. Netflix reportedly handled the investigation internally before production on the final season went.
I had to pause that. That's interesting. The fact that there was a several-month investigation done into this tells me that there could be some validity to it. Bullying, said Commander Alpha Turkey. I have become skeptic to bullying charges. Right. I hope she's not another Laura Matthias. Lord knows we don't need that. I want to show y'all something, and hopefully it'll still, I won't have to remove it, but y'all, I saw this, I think it's got him in it. I've got to show y'all this trailer for this movie. It hasn't come to America yet. I think they said it's supposed to be in America in like January or March of 2026. But y'all, I got to see it. I'm going to show y'all the trailer to it. If it's deleted, I'll tell you what it is if I have to delete the trailer out of the live. Carr said, I'm not casting any judgment because I don't know the situation. However, he's been in her life since she was a little girl. I think that he may have been treating her like a child still and not an adult. And maybe she got mad because he's not her dad and he can't tell her what to do, but who the fuck knows? That makes sense. That does make sense. Very possible.
Head.
Hold on. Sorry. I stopped it at a weird spot. Let me back it up a smidge. Well, I did.
Millie Bobby Brown, one of the stars of.
Let me show y'all this trailer. Oh my gosh. It's so good. Like, it looks so good. Oh, I'm gonna have to pull it up on YouTube. It made me cry because I've had somebody, I don't know. I'll tell you when we watch. Let me pull it up. I'll probably have to remove it from the live. It's for the movie Dracula. It's out overseas right now, I think, but this one looked good. I said play. Thank you. I can't wait till it comes out. Like, I'm probably going to try to go to theater to watch it. It's a new one, but yeah. I'm going to make it full. Yeah. Well, it's a newer one.
Tell me your story.
My story.
And I think it has that boy in it that was in Stranger
100 years ago, I asked a priest that God spare my wife. He did not.
Tell your God, my life no longer belongs to him.
Since then, I've lived on, waiting for her return.
Some of the sports portray that better.
He's been looking for his beloved for more than 400 years.
It looks so good.
He comes to find his princess.
This man is the devil.
Mina's in danger. Repent for your salvation.
She is my salvation.
You are her damnation.
Short does a better depiction of it. I'm gonna find the short on it real quick because the short was better and it was like, yeah, I think it's this one. It made me cry because it made me cry to see that because somebody has looked at me like that before, and unfortunately they're no longer here, and it reminded me of that person.
Since then, I've lived on, waiting for her return.
That's just part of the other one. I'd have to go in my history and show you. But anyway, it's supposed to be really, really good. Like, it looks good to me. It made me cry when I saw it. No. Anyway, I'm going to watch that. Okay, so what we have so far, and I'll check X. I'll show you the other one when I can pull it up in just a second. Let me see if he's been sentenced yet. Oh, we're going to jump over here. SF Investigates has put something out about it. Let's see what he said. Hey, Abraham. Hold on. I'm all over the place. Hold on just a minute. I really wanted to show y'all the other trailer before I move on. I'll jump over here real quick. I have to find it again because I watched a lot of shorts. No. Because the other trailer, like, don't you just hate that when you go to look for something and you can't find it and it's like the ones you find are not the right ones? I watched like 4 trailers on it and they were all really, really good. Oh my gosh. So many shorts. I was scrolling yesterday. Like I said, this is going to be kind of off the cuff, but I do apologize for that. Some of these people on here, I was watching them dance.
Everybody saw me.
No, we're not. I don't even know. There. No, that was today. It's going to really irritate the shit out of me. All right, let's just go back over here. We'll go ahead and do this. So, yeah. We're going to talk about Jake Haro real quick. Theo Ramona said there's an active shooter at the University of Virginia told to run, hide, and fight. Let's see. Hold on, I'll read this and then we will go there. So this says, I received an amended complaint which was previously sealed in the Jake Haro and Rebecca Haro case for the murder of Emmanuel Haro. Jake will be sentenced at 2 p.m. today. Although they are both responsible, it appears from count 3 that Jake was the one who actually killed baby Emmanuel. And then he shows these documents. Let me get real close. Yeah, I don't care. Let's get real close and read it. So he does have a cash bond of $1 million. He's in custody as of August 26th of 2025. The people of the state of California versus Jake and Rebecca Haro. Count 1, the undersigned penalty, perjury, that the above named defendant, Jake and Rebecca, committed violation, a felony, that on or about August 5th through August 14th, the defendants willfully and did murder baby Doe. We've seen that. Okay. So he said there was a change to count 3. The above named defendant, Jake, committed a violation, a felony, on or about August 5th through August 14th in the county of Riverside, state of California. The defendant, having the care and custody of Emmanuel Haro, a child under 8 years of age, did willfully and unlawfully assault said child by means of force that a reasonable person would be likely to produce great bodily injury resulting in the death of said child. Aggravating factors. And it is further alleged the offense was carried out without planning, sophistication, and professionalism within the meaning of California rules of court. It is further alleged that Emmanuel was particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California rules of court. It is further alleged the defendant, Rebecca Haro, took advantage of a position of trust and confidence to commit the crime within the meaning of California rules. It's further alleged the offense was carried out without planning, sophistication, and professionalism. It's further alleged that the defendant's, Jake Haro's, prior performance while on probation, mandatory supervision, post-release community supervision, and parole, to wit, was unsatisfactory within the meaning of California rules of court codes. They're using the 1109, which means they can use Carolina Rose's, what he did to her against him. Further alleged, Jake was on probation. Further alleged, Emmanuel was particularly vulnerable. It's further alleged Jake took advantage of a position of trust. And then they referenced Marcy's Law, which is basically any victims can be, their names are redacted. Okay. This is a screenshot that says the people have alleged in counts blank that the offense was carried out without planning, sophistication, or professionalism. To prove this allegation, the people must prove that the defendant's manner of committing the crime involved planning, sophistication, or professionalism. Whether the manner of committing the crime involves planning, sophistication, or professionalism depends on the totality of the circumstances surrounding the offense. Planning refers to conduct before the crime, preparing for its commission. Sophistication refers to conduct demonstrating knowledge or awareness of the complexities or details involved in committing the crime. Professionalism refers to conduct demonstrating particular experience or expertise. So they're saying he didn't plan it. It's not professional. Like he didn't, use a skill set that he had to commit the homicide. And sophistication, demonstrating knowledge or awareness of the complexities or details involved. So it wasn't a sophisticated crime, I'm assuming, is what that means. 2 p.m. will be 6 p.m. here for me. Good to see you. Thank you for the information, Thea. And Snarky Pants, good to see you. I know. I hope that he can get justice, but I don't know if you guys were here. We'll take it back a little bit. This thing irritates me. I'll just leave it like that. Okay, we're going to take it back a little bit. Kalisa, good to see you, love. I want to show you something that SF pointed out. This is the second part. Okay, so I'm going to read it in its entirety. I received the amended complaint, which was previously sealed in the Jake and Rebecca Haro case for the homicide of Emmanuel Haro. Jake will be sentenced at 2 p.m. today. Although they are both responsible, it appears from count 3 that Jake was the one who actually killed Emmanuel. I attached the jury instructions on what the court defines as planning, sophistication, and professionalism. Since they are charged with that aggravating factor, I do not expect the judge to be lenient with Jake. I think that after sentencing, Rebecca will use the prior domestic violence claim that she was afraid Jake would commit her homicide if she didn't go along with his plan to try to get hers reduced to accessory after the fact or a similar type of reduction in charges. But without the actual probability case affidavit, it's hard to know for certain. And that's what that one we read just a second ago refers to. But this is particularly frustrating, and I will point out why. If we go to SF Investigate. Hold on. I gotta find it again. He talked about, we read it the other day, and it was after he was talking about, here it is. Listen to this. SF said, I've lost what respect I gave back to the Riverside County DA's office. In their press release about Jake Haro's guilty plea, they say the following, quote, Jake Haro's guilty pleas were to the court and not a plea agreement with the DA's office. Okay, I'm going to pause there. Do you guys remember, and I can take it back, the DA said that they were not going to make a plea deal. They said under no circumstances were they going to make a plea deal with Jake or Rebecca Haro. Okay. And they're still saying that here. They underlined again in the plea to the court, a defendant enters guilty pleas to all charged counts, and the judge in the case determines the sentence the defendant will serve. So basically saying he pled to the court, we didn't make a plea deal. Haro faces a potential sentence of 25 years to life in prison, unquote. SF Investigate said, yeah, this would be a great deal if Jake did that to first degree homicide that he was charged with. What you failed to disclose is that you filed an amended complaint reducing the charges to second degree homicide, essentially a backdoor plea deal, which is really frustrating because the DA swore to all of us, to everybody during that press conference, that they would not take any plea deals at all. And they did. Oh, it's 5 PM in Cali is 8 PM in Florida. So it would be 5 PM. In my opinion, she enabled Emmanuel's death to occur. She did nothing to keep her baby safe. And how is it that he got 2 women to do that? I would love to know. It continues, and then you sealed the amended complaint for the public. Then you claim in your press release it is out of your hands because he pled to the court. They think we are a bunch of dummies. You gave them a second degree deal without the body. Unless this is a deal for him to roll on Rebecca, which maybe it is, because if he doesn't, then they have to reduce her charges or drop them altogether. Either way, Emmanuel loses. So again, Jake Haro got a plea deal. Now, I don't think he'll walk out of jail or anything like that. It's not that type of plea deal, but they swore that they wouldn't do that. And then they did. Yeah, exactly, Commander. Tell me it's a deal without telling me it's a deal. Exactly. Kalisa said that DA was a slime ball, just the way he talked down to all of us and tried to make himself look good. Yeah, and they sealed the complaint. They sealed everything so that we wouldn't know that they did give him a deal. SF said, my point is don't call it a plea to the court and not a plea deal. They reduced his charges, which is so very frustrating. We'll go back over here. This talks about it being moved to today at 2. Riverside County, a sentencing hero for Jake Haro, who pled guilty last month to second degree homicide and the death of his 7-month-old son, is now expected at 2 p.m. today in Riverside. Court officials said Riverside County Superior Court Judge Charles Polk reorganized his schedule, and moved the case from the morning docket. The hearing, originally set for 8:30 p.m., will take place in Department 61 at the Hall of Justice. Haro, 32, admitted to the homicide of his son, Emmanuel Haro, and faces a maximum of 25 years to life in prison. He entered his plea without a deal on October 16th. Now, it's funny that they say this because of what we just read from SF Investigates. Why is the news making sure to reiterate and underline that this is a plea without a deal? We know the truth. We know that the damn DA lied to us and made a deal with him. Like, stop treating us like we're stupid, please. Carr said, I lost all faith in our justice system between this Jesse Mac Butler walking on grape and almost unaliving a girl. Yeah, there's no real justice in my opinion. I saw something on that, but I don't know much about it, and I don't know if I've got it pulled up. I don't think I do. Don't think I do. I'm not seeing it. Okay, this says News Channel 3's Garrett Hoddle asked the DA's office whether Haro has disclosed how the baby died or where his remains are, whether a change of plea form is available, whether co defendant Rebecca Haro will appear today, and whether prosecutors plan to grant interviews. Manuel's mother, Rebecca, pled not guilty to homicide charges. She is scheduled to return to court for a felony settlement conference on January 21st. Investigators have not said how Emmanuel died or located his body. The 7-month-old has been missing since August. Both parents were arrested on August 22nd after weeks of searches. This is a developing story, and we will update you as more information becomes available. We've got this video.
We are covering that breaking news today at noon. A Cabazon man accused, along with his wife, of killing their 7-month-old baby boy has pleaded guilty to the murder charges against him in court today. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Jeff Stahl. The child's mother, Rebecca Haro, did not plead guilty today.
So he, in a way, he did, because when we were reading here from SF Investigates, yes, this would be a great deal if Jake pled to first-degree homicide that he was charged with. What the DA failed to disclose is that they filed an amended complaint reducing the charges to second-degree homicide, essentially a backdoor plea deal. Keep in mind, as we were, dang it, I hate that happened. When we were just going over that article, he faces a maximum of 25 years to life. If it was first-degree homicide, it would be a minimum of 25 years all the way up to life. That cheese is spicy ranch. Ew. It's an underhanded way of the DA to make a deal, then gaslight us and say they didn't. Exactly. Because they proceeded to seal the amended complaint from the public, so the public wouldn't know afterwards.
Pleaded not guilty. The case against her continues. Authorities have not yet located the remains of the baby Haro. Parents Jake and Rebecca Haro, again, charged with his murder. News Channel 3's Garrett Hoddle is live in Riverside with the very latest updates. Garrett.
Jeff, and I just spoke to the DA's office, and they told me they were not aware of the guilty plea that Jake was going to be making today, and he did plead to the court, and he pled.
I have an article that says he was sentenced. We're going to look at it as soon as we watch this video. I don't know if it's true or not. We shall see. 2:30 Central, 1:30 Mountain, and 12:30 Pacific. There's something saying he's pled. I'm going to check it out while we watch this video.
Guilty on that second-degree murder charge of little Emmanuel Haro, as well as his trailing cases. Now, in the amended complaint that we just received from prosecutors, it says there are aggravating factors that were carried out with that murder. It says that it was planned with precision, carefully over time. Another thing, too, is Jake did plead guilty and say he was in custody of Emmanuel Haro between the dates of August 5th and August 14th. That's important. You'll remember back on August 27th, the DA's office told us that that's when they believed little Emmanuel had passed away. They said they had a general indication of where his remains may be, but I can tell you right now, we have heard no word from officials that any remains of little Emmanuel have been found or anything in terms of a body. The big thing from Rebecca you heard as well, she is maintaining her not guilty plea. She has a felony settlement conference on October 28th, and then she has a prelim on November 3rd. That's when Jake's expected to be sentenced. Inside the courtroom, Jeff, it was an emotional scene. Jake was there crying. You could see his public defenders consoling him. They even asked him at one point.
Hold on. Let me play this.
A lot of us heard, "Are you ready for this?" Meanwhile, on the other side of the courtroom, from where I was sitting, you couldn't see Rebecca. Her attorney, Jeff Moore, we've seen in these conferences, does a good job of blocking her from the camera, but you can hear her. And people that were sitting by told me they saw her rocking back and forth saying, "My baby, my baby." And this isn't it. We know yesterday both parents had a child custody hearing. There's more children involved in this story, and something that we're going to be following very closely. Stay tuned to News Channel 3. Jeff, I'm going to toss it back to you.
So many moving parts. Of course, we're following that. Garrett Hoddle there live today at noon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're going to back it up. I'm a bit discombobulated as well today, Hannah. Oh my gosh, that sounds good, Gigi Dillagaff. I want some chicken tacos. Abraham said if the DA can't prove first-degree homicide, then it does no good to anyone but the defendant. If he can prove second-degree homicide, then that's what he should charge. We don't want a jury exonerating him from first degree. Oh, good point. We need to look into that. Let's do some searching on that. Sit next to me. I'm discombobulated all the time and burnt out on life. Don't get the ladder. I'm sorry. Consoling him. Yeah. I have a question.
We are covering that break.
Where was it? Not there. Right here. When were they seen walking out of court together? Like, have they bonded out? There's no fucking way. I muted it. Right there. They're together holding hands, walking out. And they talked about their public defender. So have they bonded out? I don't think
Emotional
so.
scene. Jake was there crying. You could see his public defenders consoling him. They even asked him at one point, a lot of us heard, "Are you ready for this?" Meanwhile, on the
Y'all, does anybody know where this footage came from?
it was an emotional scene. Jake was there crying. You could see his public defenders consoling him. They even asked him at one point.
Are they both bonded out? Hey, Kelly, good to see you. I don't know. When would they have been seen together like that? Because they were arrested and he's crying. Like they talk about him crying and he's
It was an
crying
emotional
right there.
scene. Jake was there crying. You could see his public defenders consoling him. They even asked.
I'm about to ask Google while we go look up that other information. There's no fucking way.
Emotional scene. Jake was there crying. You could see his public defenders consoling him. They even asked him at one point, a lot of us heard, "Are..."
I think that's an old clip. I hope so. Let's go to Google. It's not telling me. That was 2 months ago. Let me ask it the correct way and see if we get anything. Oh, okay. Jake Haro is currently out on bond. Jake Haro is currently out on bond following his guilty plea to second-degree homicide in connection with the death of his 7-month-old son, Emmanuel Haro. He has been granted a bond, allowing him to remain free while he's sentenced, awaiting sentencing. But Rebecca is not. Rebecca Haro is not out on bond. She is currently in custody and has pled not guilty to homicide charges. Both Rebecca and her husband Jake are expected to remain in custody while awaiting trial, but it said that he is out. What the fuck? That pic was a few months ago, said Linda Smith. Okay, it's an old clip from where he almost killed his daughter. Okay. Thank you, guys. Maybe AI could be wrong. I don't know. Everything still says to be sentenced. I hope not. I don't know why. It says he has been granted a bond, allowing him to remain free while awaiting sentencing. Shut up. I don't know why it would tell me he's out on bond, though, if he wasn't. Donna, good to see you. Yeah, I think it was from the first charges. A court hearing before they were arrested for Emmanuel. Thank you, smartass. AI is wrong. He is not out on bond, says Cheeky B. It could be. It very well could be wrong. Okay. I don't know. The way it says it, he has been granted a bond. So I don't know. AI could definitely be wrong. All right, Abraham. Where are you at? because the DA could easily prove second degree. That's why they charged. And based on that, his lawyers advised him to just plead guilty and take his chances with that sentence. Hold on just a minute. In California, second-degree homicide is defined as the unlawful homicide of a human being with malice aforethought, but without premeditation and deliberation. This means that the perpetrator acted with a specific state of mind, intending to cause death or cause great bodily injury with a high probability of death. Examples of second-degree homicide include actions such as shooting someone in a crowded area or causing an accident that results in death without premeditation. The penalties for second-degree homicide can range from 15 years to life, depending on the circumstances. Let's look up first degree and see what they would have to choose. First degree is defined as an unlawful homicide that is both willful and premeditated. So they have to prove malice aforethought, which is in second degree. The defendant intended to kill or acted with a reckless disregard for human life. The reckless disregard for human life is what they could get him for Emmanuel. They'd have to prove premeditation and deliberation, that the act was planned and deliberate, showing a conscious decision to commit the homicide. And then there are special circumstances, which reads certain homicides, such as those committed during the commission of felonies, can automatically qualify as first degree. Penalties for first degree can be severe, often including life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. That premeditation and deliberation, they might be having a hard time trying to prove. So that could be why it was changed to second degree. But I still am leaning toward SF here when he says, my point is, don't call it a plea to the court and not a plea deal. They reduced his charges. But if they reduced his charges because they couldn't prove premeditation and deliberation, then that's a bit different. Child abuse a felony? Yes. But his first charges, it was a felony, I do believe, but he should have done more time. They charged him wrong. That's why this is so upsetting, because if they had charged him correctly with Carolina Rose's, what happened with her, then he would have never, Emmanuel would have never been created, but he wouldn't have been able to kill him. If they had charged him like they did, and then locked him up when he violated probation one of the 16 motherfucking times that he went to court for that, and it was continued, then Emmanuel would have been created, and he would still be here. It might be rescheduled till 3 p.m. Most places are saying 2 p.m. Murder of a baby is murder. I agree. And I hope he tells where Emmanuel is. Let's see. The most recent thing I have is from 1 hour ago, and it's titled "Father Sentenced," past tense, in baby Emmanuel's homicide, which I told y'all I had pulled up, but it just reads, a convicted Cabazon child abuser who admitted to killing his 7-month-old son and conspiring with his wife to cover the crime is slated to be sentenced Monday in Riverside Court. Jake Haro, 32, pled guilty on October 16th. And it's saying it as if it's past tense, like it's supposed to happen on Monday, and today is Monday. So I don't even think. Okay. We know all of this. We'll read the whole thing anyway. Jake Haro sentencing is set for Monday at the Riverside Hall of Justice. He is facing 20 years to life. A separate preliminary hearing is scheduled for Rebecca, but it's uncertain whether that will proceed. She is charged with homicide and filing a false police report. Jake Haro is being held without bail at the Smith Correctional Facility. Okay, so he's not out. that helps with that. His spouse is being held on $1 million bail at the Robert Presley jail. Baby Emmanuel's body has not yet been located. His parents were arrested on August 22nd following a San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department investigation. Quote, there was forensic data from the crime scene. San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dickus said during a news briefing in late August, quote, that's how we learned the jurisdiction where this crime occurred. Riverside County. Forensically, there were a number of things that we were able to prove up. He was reported missing from Yucaipa Boulevard. She told deputies she had been assaulted. On August 18th, they served search warrants, and a large amount of surveillance video was obtained from areas of interest. Jake was arrested and charged last year in banning with illegal possession of a loaded firearm, as well as probation violations. The case hasn't been resolved. Court documents also revealed that Isabella Rebecca Gonzalez, House's former spouse, filed a domestic violence restraining order against him with a request to protect the couple's son, Eli. Let me see what y'all are saying. I went to Riverside County inmate search, and both Jake and Rebecca are listed as current inmates. Thank you for that, Kalisa. Thank you. I appreciate that. Abraham said if he was to be given a deal, the DA would have disclosed what the public would be receiving in return, the body for a lesser sentence, but we know that his only charges were changed. I hope it wasn't. Yeah, we should be able to see it at 5 p.m. today if they allow cameras in the courtroom. We might still be waiting to see if we get to see it. Rebecca has no documented prior felony convictions in Riverside. DA Mike Hestron said Emmanuel's death was preventable, blaming a failure in the criminal justice system for enabling Jake Haro to remain free on probation after pleading guilty in a child abuse case involving his ex-wife and another infant, Carolina. In 2023, Haro admitted to the child cruelty charge, but again pled directly to the court, avoiding negotiations with prosecutors. Hestron said the DA's office wanted prison for the defendant's extensive abuse of the girl, which resulted in broken ribs, a fractured skull, and a brain hemorrhage, leaving her permanently bedridden. If the judge had done his job, Emmanuel would be alive today, he said. Prior to any plea to the court in that case, we strongly objected to the proposed sentence. Our objection was made based on the seriousness of the injuries Mr. Haro inflicted on his then 10-week-old daughter. When the court chose to deviate from the prosecution's effort to secure prison, it was acutely aware of the heinous and permanent nature of this young victim's injuries. We believe that granting Haro probation under these circumstances on these facts was an inappropriate use of the court's discretion. So there was no consideration given to him. A good defense attorney would go over to prove and how it wouldn't benefit them to take it to trial, thus resulting in a plea, nothing to do with a deal. I hope that's true. Kim said, I'm behind, call the jail. If we couldn't figure it out, I would. But yeah, everything's saying that he's still in court as far as I can tell. Oh, y'all couldn't see the article. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let's see. Do. Bum, 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 bum. Yep. And it's scheduled for 5 p.m. So we will watch it. We'll hang out till then. We got about an hour and 15 minutes. Got about an hour and 15 minutes. All right. So let's go to, I saw something. One crime. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to talk to y'all about this too. So this is from 17 minutes ago. Court at 3 p.m. today, sentencing for the monster. Court TV says 3 p.m. Go over the evidence. Oh, okay. Okay. So I saw this. A blood-covered news anchor stabbed her mom to death, police said. We'll watch.
She was the person you'd wake up to when you flipped on the morning news.
Rich in Texas is behind bars this morning after being caught on camera stealing her neighbor's Christmas lights. Who thinks of that?
That's part of her resume reel that's still on YouTube. She was the face and voice that viewers trusted, but now in a shocking turn of events, this former news anchor is now an accused murderer.
This morning at 7:51 hours, officers responded to a stabbing call in the 1500 block of East Crowley.
She allegedly stabbed to death the person you might least expect, and police say she stabbed that victim multiple times. However, there appears to be a defense that she's going with. What she is saying her side of the story is to this.
What? She stabbed her mother to death, having been a former news anchor, and I mean, what is your excuse for that, ma'am? What the hell? That's interesting. I wonder what happened.
Horrific crime. We're on the case presented.
She was very pretty. She doesn't look like that now. Maybe because she doesn't have makeup on and was highly stressed out the moment she was arrested. I'm not sure.
Guys, before we get into this shocking case we're following out of Wichita, Kansas, and we begin this episode of that perfect persona, don't they?
There we go.
Right? You flip on the news, it's super early, sun might not be up, but they always have the energy. They always seem to be on top of whatever's going on in your community. And it makes what happens in this story so shocking. And we're following it out of Wichita, Kansas, and it involves a former morning news anchor who's now an accused murderer. This is Angie Mock. According to her LinkedIn, she used to work in local news for more than a decade. And that's the kind of job, I mean, I used to be in the industry.
So Court TV says that it's 5 p.m. my time, Abellis. When you're online, it like shows you what time whatever comes on in your time zone. So since my time zone is Eastern, it said that that Jake Haro sentencing was going to be at 5 p.m. my time. Yeah, they have a lot. You think he's cute?
It might seem glamorous on the outside, but boy, it is a grind, and it takes years of dedication, takes a lot of commitment and sacrifice. And apparently, Mock was someone who did pay her dues in the business. Her career started in November 2002. She was a sports reporter, started out at that small market station, tiny Lincoln, Nebraska, and it appears she really worked her way up through places like Rochester, Minnesota, Missoula, Montana, Oklahoma City, and then she made it to the biggest place she worked, St. Louis. She was a
You know, as we're talking about this news anchor, I'm reminded of Lauren Matthias having been a former news anchor as well. And I'm wondering, what is the deal with these news anchors, like losing their minds, being bullies? Why? 2 p.m. Pacific. You're good at Abraham. What's going on with the news anchors lately?
Morning anchor in that city from March of 2011 through February of 2015. But in 2015, it appears she got out of the business and transitioned into software sales. Now, along the way, she did seem to have a ton of support from her family, especially her mom, a woman named Anita Avers. Avers worked as a clinical and family therapist in Wichita. Her biography reads that she specializes in treating adults experiencing depression, anxiety, spectrum disorders, trauma, and mood disorders, as well as relationship issues involving couples and marriages like family conflict, infidelity, and divorce. So she was a woman.
That's interesting that she's like a therapist and it does all of these things like family counseling and all of that, like, and then for her daughter to snap and commit her homicide. What in the hell is going on? I wonder what happened. My favorite news anchor moved to Lincoln, Nebraska. The newbie suck ball. Said Dandy, I'm sorry, that sucks.
woman who really handled a lot of very serious issues involving mental health. And it also just appears that she was, at the end of the day, a proud mom of her daughter. In fact, her profile picture right now is her daughter, Angie Mock, and it appears Angie's out live in the field reporting. And this is a picture of the two of them together. This was posted in 2019. Now, a family therapist, a morning news anchor, a mother, and a daughter. Those details just make what happened on October 31st, according to Wichita Police, just so difficult to comprehend.
This morning at 7:51 hours, officers responded to a stabbing call in the 1500 block of East Crowley. When officers arrived on scene, they were met in the street with a 48-year-old white female who had suffered from some cuts to her hand. Officers went inside the residence, found an 81-year-old elderly female suffering from multiple stab wounds. Both were transported to local hospitals.
Police say Angie Mock,
What on earth? I mean, I still am just wondering what on earth happened to make a woman who seems so professional. I mean, was a news anchor. Her mother was very proud of her. Her mother also doing like therapy type stuff. Like what on earth has happened here? You're funny, Mustang. If you, in my opinion, if you've got to be a little you've got to be a little narcissistic to be a news anchor on TV all the time, and you need to be tough to be successful. That's true. What? I don't understand what happened here.
former cheerful morning news anchor, killed her own mother, stabbing her multiple times. So here's what we know about what the scene looked like. There's a neighbor that told the local news station KAKE that Mock allegedly ran up to her and her boyfriend. This is what she said. That neighbor said, quote, "There was a woman who approached our vehicle with blood, like her hands were filled. Her body was filled with blood, asking to call 911. Just think of how terrifying a situation that would be if you were just driving down the street and that person comes up to you. But that neighbor said that Mock then took their cell phone and ran into the house, calling 911. She described Mock as acting scared. Now, Mock's mom, who you do see her hugging in this picture, Anita Avers, was rushed to the hospital. She was the victim, 81 years old. She passed away from multiple stab wounds, allegedly at the hands of her own daughter. Now, here's Mock's mugshot. Her full name is...
Look at that mugshot. That does not look like the same woman at all. So I'm wondering if substance abuse is part of this. You're thinking Alzheimer for the daughter though? The daughter to stab the mother? I don't know. Like maybe Alzheimer's and the daughter was tired of it? I don't know. That don't look like the same person at all to me. At all. Also, some of the most mentally unstable people I've known have been in the mental health field. Maybe her mom was abusive and unhinged. Not an excuse, just wondering. That's a possibility, maybe. You think mom had Alzheimer's? Possibly.
Angeline. She's 47 years old, and she was taken into custody on first-degree murder charges. Now, we did find the 911 dispatch chatter from when Mock called for help, and we do get a little bit of insight, a little bit of information about what Mock's side of the story may be. Listen to this.
Calling and responding to the cutting at 1514 East Crowley Street. The calling party is advised that mom tried to one CP. The calling party stabbed her mom. The mother started slicing a CP, and the calling party had to stab the mother to save herself. The mother is a white female, 5'9" heavy build. Standoff on arrival. Would you like to attack channel?
So that's the dispatch chatter. And the key part of what you're hearing there is that the dispatcher says that the 911 caller, who is Angie Mock, said something along the lines of needing to allegedly stab her mom to save herself. So could that mean...
So that would go back to what Tammy just said. Yeah, it looked like two different people, but that would go back to what Tammy just said. Like, did she need to stab her mom because her mom was trying to kill her because of Alzheimer's? Is she going to use that defense? You're going to blame meth. It's almost always meth related. I won't disagree with you there. It didn't look like the same person. Even without filters and makeup, though, I would think that she would look somewhat like she's supposed to look. I feel like I didn't. I'm worried about coming on camera for y'all. Am I cutting in and out for you? Let me know if I'm cutting in and out for anybody. Guano crazy, bat crazy.
That she is arguing that this was a case of self-defense. Both Mock and her mom were taken to the hospital. Police say Mock did have cuts on her hands. It's unclear if those cuts are defensive wounds. It's also unclear if Mock and her mom, if they were dealing with any mental health issues or if the two had any previous issues between each other. Now, we weren't able to find any previous criminal history for Mock. It seems that her record up until this point was relatively clean, but Mock now is currently being held on $1 million bond in the county jail in Kansas. This case is now in the criminal justice system. So
Lori says good. I'll ask on here.
many people who watch Mock on TV, as you can imagine, they're reacting to the news in shock. Now, there is that big question of whether Mock murdered her mom with premeditation, which is what first-degree murder is in Kansas, or was this truly an act of self-defense? And in the word of dispatchers, is it something that Mock had to do to save herself? Joining us now to talk more about this is retired NYPD Detective David Sarney. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime, especially when we break down some of these stories where, you know, if you're an officer.
Yeah. Abraham said, if I'm cutting in and out, check your speed because you might have it set at 1.25. So there's no history of them having like arguments or anything like that. No criminal history or anything. This is very curious. Maybe she did have to kill her because she was having some kind of mental episode. I don't know.
Responding to this, you're just taking in a lot of information right out of the gate. Let's talk a little bit about, you get this call, you know that there was a stabbing of some kind. I mean, what's going on in the car as you're arriving on the scene and what happens next?
Well, thank you for having me. What you're having is 911 gets called. 911 dispatcher will then send it over to the dispatcher. The 911 call center will call the dispatch. Dispatch then sends out the...
Sorry, hold on. I don't want to play all of this. I wanted to play part of it.
The officers on scene who are going there. They're going to be asking for further information if there's anything more that they have on this, weapons on scene, all this information, and hopefully that's been relayed from the 911 operator to dispatch, and then the officers will get to scene. And it's an active scene at this point because once the phone call is actually coming from one of the, at this time, possible victims. Later on, we find out it's going to be the perpetrator. So you're going to have to make sure, you know, you're going to get the information immediately from the one.
You know what? Who said it? Living together, said Lori, perhaps to take care of her. It's rough and some people lose it. That's a good point, though. If the daughter is not on substances or anything like that, why is the daughter living with her unless it was to take care of her? Like, that's weird for me that the daughter was living there unless she was living there to take care of her. But why wouldn't the daughter have her own house and be doing her own thing with her family? You know what I mean? Andrew said it's hard to tell. I'm glad you got it fixed. Awesome. It is hard to tell.
Person who's actually observed everything. There's also a 911 persons that were there who saw the incident, or basically initial incident. You're going to separate them at least as best you can, and get and render aid as soon as possible to the victim at this time, and the other victim that you found out is going to be in the bedroom. So everyone is going to pretty much get EMS there as soon as possible. And if you can render aid immediately or some sort of aid yourself, you'll do that.
And I know in this case, excuse me, Angie Mock's mom, the victim in this story, she was rushed to the hospital. She had been stabbed multiple times. She's taken to the hospital. Sadly, she loses her life. From an investigative standpoint, I don't know if there's a right way to ask this question, but the fact that they have to move her from where she was on the bed, EMS, to try to get her to the hospital, is that a challenge for the investigation where you won't be able to see what position she was in other than it's been reported that she's been left in the bed?
Right, and that's where the interviews, when you do these investigative
So if she was left in the bed, like if she was found in the bed, that's not self-defense. Or I mean, how is that self-defense if she was found in a bed? That's not going to work in her favor at all. No history of violence, Anders, from either side. Maybe she did. But why would you snap and kill her? Like you're tired of taking care of her, so you snapped and killed her? That's crazy. My 43-year-old brother lives together with our mom. Cutting costs is a huge factor. Okay, so maybe that's what it is. Okay. I took care of my mom for years. With left side paralysis, it was taxing on my mental health. Oh my goodness, Lori. Thank God she had you. And thank God your mother has your brother. I mean, your mother has your brother, Dandy. That's interesting. Maybe I just didn't see it that way because my family, unfortunately, is not very, very close. But um, the fact that you pointed out, Lorianne, that it was taxing on your mental health, I wonder if it. I mean, even looking at her in that mugshot, she seemed kind of taxed mentally, in my opinion. But the fact that we just found out the mother was found on the bed is not looking good for self defense. You know.
Steps, you have so many people you're going to be interviewing, and one of them's going to be the officers on scene, the first responders. What did they see? Where was
Oh wow.
the mother in the bed, and how was she situated? Was she in bed like she was sleeping, or was she in bed as in
Hey,
that
Lil
she
Red,
fell
good
into
to
the
see
bed?
you.
You know, if the officers have body cameras, that's also beneficial. That's always a thing that we utilize a lot, is that, you know, whatever footage they have, especially this is a live active scene, if there's body camera footage, we utilize that, so that's another positive there. So each step of this investigation, you know, you're going to see a lot of it. Again, a lot of wheels are in motion at this point. So you have what you have two injured parties, and what's going to happen as far as investigation is going to be concerned is how did they get injured? And that's what the detectives will figure out. And not only that, how were they injured? Who did it? Where's the weapon? And why did it happen?
Well, and let's talk a little bit about Angie Mock, this suspect, because it appears that she's going with self-defense argument, but she's also facing first-degree murder, which in Kansas would be premeditation. What kind of evidence might law enforcement have for within a couple of days to say that this is what we're going to be charging her with?
That's going to be the statements made by the defendant at this time prior to being arrested. When she.
So Abella said, my mother and I lived together too. She was wonderful, but she was not well, and it wasn't easy for either one of us. Interesting. I'm wondering if that plays a part in this. The mental health of the mother and the daughter.
We spoke to the dispatcher. All of these pieces will come together in that puzzle. But you know, that's why, you know, the officers can make the arrest. We arrest on probable cause. And the prosecutor then determines the fact whether or not those charges were either reduced or upgraded. And at this point, they've upgraded to murder one, presuming this is premeditated. Because now you have to realize the relationship between the mother-daughter. Was the mother and daughter living together? These are things that.
Okay, so they have upgraded it to homicide in the first degree, which means there is a premeditated aspect to it. So as of right now, again, it's not looking good in the Department of Self-Defense, just going by what we found out since this man has been talking. I know a family where the dad and second wife asked the ex-wife and the child to move in with them when the ex-wife became disabled and they needed a home. They all got along really well. They all get along really well now. Interesting. Dandy said, I tried moving my mom in with us. After about 9 months, we sent her back to Missouri. It was hell. Oh my God. And he said it also, there's going to be another question of, did she live with her? So maybe she didn't live with her.
They another part of that. So each piece of this comes in. And it's amazing the fact that they do murder one immediately. And usually there's I'm waiting, maybe there's going to be additional charges, or they may have a reduction in the charge from murder one to, say, manslaughter or murder two. So that's going to come out later on. But they're.
So charging her with murder in the first degree is just the first charge. But I mean, I think, again, that means that they don't think, it doesn't look like it was any kind of self-defense. But we'll have to wait and see if they drop the charges down. I want to know what she said. I
Keeping it
want
the
some
highest
body.
charge right now. So they believe they have enough to prosecute this beyond a reasonable doubt.
And for her, she makes this statement that, I mean, it appears it's a self-defense argument, something along the lines of, I had to do it to save myself. And I don't know if there's a mental health challenge that's going on. I'm not sure. How do you determine, considering there were two people that know what happened and one of them's dead, how do you know, as the people investigating this, whether this was self-defense or not?
Well, we look, as far as investigators, we look to find out the whys, and that's where the people have this, what we call the culpable mental state. Was it intentional? And was it accidental? It doesn't seem to be that way. Was it reckless? Was it, knowingly doing this? These are coming into play, but with murder one, it's intentional. So we're looking to find evidence to show the intent of the individual, and that's usually the hardest to prove. So that's why they're going to do it again, a deep dive into the defendant at this point via social media, any domestic incident reports they've had in the past, talk to neighbors, talk to friends, to see if there was some sort of acrimony between them, that relationship, because the self-defense is what the prosecutor is going to have to deal with, if that's going to be the case. And now the defense attorney is going to have to bring into play some evidence to show that there's self-defense. And the prosecutor is going to look at all the evidence they have to refute that defense by the defense.
I mean, yeah, proven self-defense in a case like this, where the woman, I mean, the mother is found in the bed, is not going to be an easy feat at all. But the fact that she was a news anchor and moved to software sales, I mean, proves that she's intelligent, and is capable of keeping a job. So that means that she's not, I mean, on the surface level, having mental issues. She's not, she doesn't appear to be an unmedicated person with serious mental disorders, like the woman we saw that committed the stabbing of the toddler outside of the grocery store. You know what I mean? So that'll work in her benefit, but proving self-defense when the mother was in the bed like that, I think is going to be an issue, an uphill battle for whoever her attorney is.
Attorney.
What could it mean where it's police say she had cuts on her hands, and she had to be, Angie Mock, the suspect in this case, she had to be taken to the hospital because she had cuts on her hands. What does that tell you? Well,
here's the issue again. Are they defensive wounds? Are they wounds because of the knife that she's utilizing causing that stabbing? Because if and this is what investigators find out a lot of times, is if there's two injured parties, especially when it comes to a knifing or a stabbing, there may be defensive wounds, and there may be wounds because they've been utilizing the knife. Because of the severity of the stabbing, you may have caused injury to your own hand. So that's what they're going to do. They probably taken photos of the hands and spoken to her, because now you're going to look at the victim in this case. Does she have defensive wounds on herself? Is there any defensive wounds on her arms, on her hands? So, if the injuries are to the defendant's hands, that leans, no absolutes to this, that it leans to the fact that she was the one with the initial stabbing. So what evidence that shows that the victim tried to create injury toward the defendant? And that's what they're going to look for. That's what the defense attorney is going to look for. That's why with this case, you want to make sure all the ducks in a row, that you've taken photos of the crime scene, you've interviewed all parties that you can interview, and you're finding any background, because, this doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Right. I mean, obviously doing a solid investigation. Khaleesa said, I often wonder how much interest in true crime correlates with PTSD, domestic violence, having a narcissistic mother. Just noticing a lot of us have similar stories. That's interesting that you say that. That's a good point. There's shorts. Mr. Speculating played one the other day for me that, he thought was funny. And I told him that once I go on camera, we're going to have to recreate it. But it's the one where, you're watching a scary movie with your wife and she appears very scared and like, oh my gosh, I can't watch this. And then it shows the husband watching a true crime story with the wife. And it's like, her hands were cut off. Her legs were cut off. Her face was cut off. Her ears were cut off. And then the woman's just sitting there, snacking on some popcorn, like really interested in it. Is it a woman thing? Like, is it women in general are interested in true crime? or is it trauma related things? And if it's trauma related, why do we seek out more examples of trauma? That's a good question and a good thing to dive into, Kalisa.
Vacuum. This happens around almost 8 o'clock in the morning. So was this a routine that they would meet up, or was this I drive to the house and
my
stab
gosh,
my
I'm
mom?
sorry,
So
Danny.
this is what we're going to have to find out as the investigation goes forward.
Me too.
Well, and the other part too is I know, and again, there's a lot that we don't know. We'll see how this case goes forward. But she stabbed her mom allegedly multiple times. Does that hurt someone's self-defense argument if there's multiple stab wounds that someone, could have stopped?
That is going to hurt her self-defense if there's multiple stab wounds, because yeah, it would appear that she could have stopped. Probably both. You think so? In discovery, if the defense attorney sees there isn't enough doubt to claim self-defense, he or she will advise to change her plea to guilty. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Stopped, but they didn't. If that's actually what's alleged
Me
here.
too, Dandy.
Yeah,
I'm the
when
black
you see
sheep
these type
too.
of incidents, and you see domestic incidents, there may be one stabbing, one stab, or multiple, and that's what will happen.
So, Corn Dad, good to see you. Said I think it's a bit of both gender and trauma. Very, very possible. It's interesting because, like, Mr. Speculating showed me a photo of a man who had shot himself in the head, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is so awful." And I'm looking at it to try to find like the trajectory of the gunshot wound and why his face was like half collapsed and stuff. And he's like, "I don't understand how you can do that." Like, he's like, "Oh my God, this is awful. Why did they put this on the internet?" And I'm trying to like break it down. I don't know what it is. It's probably like Corn Dead, a bit of both. Like Corn Dead said, a bit of both.
But what we have to determine, the fact is, were there injuries that the defendant sustained that were considered, a way of defending herself? Where was this knife? If the body is found in the bedroom, the trail of blood from where this incident originally took place to where we find the body, or where the body is found, that's all based on the crime scene photos that you're going to obtain. If you had any information from the defendant prior, that's why those 911 calls are recorded, because you want to hear what that, in this case, the defendant said exactly to the 911 operator, because that's important.
That is really important. Exactly what the defendant said to the 911 operator. Carr said, "For myself, it's mind-boggling how people can do this to people you love, or how does the mind get so corrupted to committing crimes like this? The nature versus nurture kicks in, and your first thought is someone has mommy issues." Yeah. I'm in some groups on Facebook about true crimes, and they show very graphic videos and photos. Yeah. And they will. And it's crazy, especially on X. We're going to go. You had your dad. That's awesome. When I got with Mr. Speculating, he had 4 very small children. Their mother had done that to them, and I kind of became a mother. And they have a really good dad too. He's amazing. Like, his first thought every day when he wakes up and every night before he goes to sleep, it's always thinking about the kids and stuff. It's a beautiful thing. I'm wondering if it helps to be able to sift through the stories in our minds, go over it in order to help ourselves process our own trauma. Very possible. But I was talking, I mean, I've been slapped in the face with some previous trauma that I'm just not ready to unpack right now. And so for me, it's easier to like go over these crime cases than it is to talk about the things that happened in my life that relate to trauma and things like that. I still am not ready to unpack a lot of it. Very true. Most of us here do have some type of trauma. Yep. And going back to the Haro case, I could be wrong, but if the judge finds the DA doesn't have enough to prove first degree, they won't allow to proceed to trial. I'll have to look that up. Interesting. Oh, reminds me of Mr. Speculating. My stepmother is 8 years older than real mom was sick. I was on my own. I'm sorry, Corn Dad.
And this, the EMS that responds to the scene, what did they hear?
8 years older than you? I'm sorry.
That is all admissible because it's not about being in custody. It's just about getting general information from for this case.
And how hard is it to determine what is a defensive wound?
That would be a conference with, you're talking about medical staff. You would talk to doctors and you're going to ask the doctors on scene, the doctors at the hospital, what
8
type
years
of
older
stab
than you.
wounds
I'm
or
sorry.
injuries to now the defendant's
That's
hand, and what type of injuries were sustained by the mother at this point. So there's a plethora of stuff you have to do, and it's about documentation, making sure you're clearly, concisely, accurately documenting what's being said by the doctors to you, and with the autopsy that you're going to deal with later on for the mother.
I feel like a lot of
Yeah, it's going to be hard to prove self-defense. I probably wouldn't have survived my childhood without my dad. I'm a lucky lady. Aw, Jerry, I'm glad that you had him. That's amazing. I mean, that's good that you had him. I'm sorry that your childhood was bad. It is interesting, though. I mean, going back to like all of us have these traumas and things. I loved my dad very much too. And when he passed away, it broke me too. I've noticed that little girls are very much, daddy's girls, and boys are mama's boys. I don't know why. It's very interesting, the dynamic. There is a study on how true crime watching affects women versus men. It's really interesting. Really? I'm going to look into that. Thank you for that, Little Red. I was telling my son sometimes it's easier to focus on something like finding Jack and Lily than stressing about my own life 24/7. That's a good point. That's a good point. It is. I think it is.
times when you look and listen to like 911 calls and it's in hindsight of whether something's a murder or not, you may listen to it completely differently than if you didn't know what charges someone was facing. What are you listening for? And we haven't heard her 911 call yet. We don't know the tone of her voice. We don't know specifically what she said about what had happened in the home, how different it is from what she told investigators. But what are you listening for when you're listening to a 911 call, maybe before you go interview a suspect, and trying to figure out what they might say once you get to an interrogation?
Well, we're hearing that 911 call, it's recorded. You then look at it and seeing any inconsistencies when you speak to her, and that's what you're looking for. Reality is, how long did it take for investigators to get the 911 call tape and to when they spoke to her? Because now, if she's a perpetrator, if she's going to be in custody and you're going to interrogate.
Yeah, if the story changes from what she said on the 911 call when she gets into custody and gets interrogated, yeah, that's going to be a lot different. Country girl Sammy, nice to meet you. Said my dad was my best friend and I miss him so much. Since my sister and mom were close, I was close to my dad and I miss him every day. I was very close to my dad. I'm very much like my dad and I feel like he's the only one that understood me and I miss him every day too. We can all listen to the same sentence. And it has a different meaning for men and women. Yeah. It absolutely does. That's very true. I'd rather spend my life with y'all than be stuck in my own head all day. It's crazy in there. Damn right.
Her up this, you're going to have to read her Miranda. So I don't know. We don't know right now if she was interrogated because was she in custody when she spoke to the investigators about the 911 call, if they ever did. But they're going to, if you have an opportunity to speak to someone prior to that, you want to see the inconsistencies from what they said at the moment that they're calling to when they have the opportunity to speak to an investigator and to then find out what they're saying is accurate. And that's what it is. You're not be able to find always that people are lying, but you're looking for inconsistencies in their stories. And that's where you refute it by evidence and facts.
Part of this story too, I mean, so Angie Mock is, I think, 47 years old. Her mom is 81. Does
Lord, I'm muted, talking away. I apologize. 41 and what did it say? 47 and 81. I'm just thinking about, like, I don't know that it's mental health necessarily. I think she might have just lost it. Thank you, country girl, for being in the bushes, and thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all so very much, and thank you for coming out of the bushes to say hey. It's nice to meet you. My mom and I have really only developed a relationship over the past 20 years. She's always been in my life. She was always so hard on me and mentally abusive. Yeah, I wish I could get closer to my mom, but I don't know.
Age ever factor into how credible someone's self-defense argument
Thank you
may
for
be? I don't
that,
know the type of
Cynthia.
shape her mom was in and all of that, but it seems like for someone in their
I so do.
80s to be the aggressor, that's something that could raise some red flags when you have the person who's facing charges here is 47 years old, relatively young. I've certainly never been in a situation where someone's come at me with a knife if that's what she's alleging happened, but just how do you factor in some of the age dynamics that are at play in this story?
So yeah, that's true. How are you going to say as a 47-year-old woman it was self-defense when your mother is 81 and obviously, I mean, probably not going to be, punching you in the face and holding you down. What's really going to tell the story is defensive wounds. Who has them? Where are they at? How and the fact that she was stabbed multiple times instead of just once is going to hurt self-defense. Yes, she had a career as a news anchor and seems to have her shit together somewhat, but she also looks a lot different. Like something happened. I don't know what, but something happened. She looks very different in her mugshot than she does right here. And it doesn't look like, I mean, she looks like a woman maybe 40 years old there.
You look at the age, obviously, the strength and physicality of the victim at this point, the mother. That comes back to interviews with other people that know her. She has a husband who knows. Maybe he has more information about some background between the mother-daughter situation. Age does make a difference, but it comes back to, were there injuries that she stated, that the defendant at this point stated, that caused her to fight back against the mother? Because I mean, if and I said this with.
The buffet happened. Dandy. Lorette said, there is a pop psychology generalization that men hear nouns in a sentence and women hear verbs. It's communication stereotyping. I'm interested in this type of psychology. How very interesting. That's really interesting to hear. I need
The
to look
body's
into
in
the
the bedroom.
dynamics.
Where is the knife? If this was self-defense, the knife would be somewhere present. No one's talked about it. We don't know if it's there or not. They don't know if it's recovered or not. But if you're defending somebody, where was this knife recovered from, and where did it come from? Was it brought by the defendant? Because it's rare you see people bring knives into bedrooms. So that's where the process of this crime scene investigation, the initial crime scene being in the house, you have to determine, where did the fight start, where did this incident start, and where did it end? Did the mother crawl into it? And that's why, even though we don't have photos of where the body was at the time, it's based on the interviews of the first responders and maybe of the defendant prior to being a defendant. Like, where's the mother? I stabbed my mom. Where's your mom? These all come out. These will all come out.
In those police interviews, how are you trained to question someone when you're trying to figure out exactly what happened? What are some of the slip-ups that you see defendants make, suspects make, when they're trying to say, hey, this was self-defense, they came at me, I was just defending myself, I'm innocent? What are some of the ways that you can figure out whether or not they're actually telling the truth?
That's going back to the investigation. Do people lie to the police? Absolutely. It's, we only meet these people for a few hours, maybe a few days, so we don't really know their background and what they're telling.
So yeah, we've got to determine if she's lying and look at the defensive wounds.
You is the truth. So you find out with the facts, and that's why the specific questions is, if she's attacking you, where were you in the room? What did she do to you? Show me what she did to you. These are things to come up. And what you find then is the inconsistencies in the story based on the facts. If she's saying she's defending herself, what kind of injuries and those hand wounds, if those are hand wounds and they're not defensive, it refutes what she's saying is self-defense. That's why. Is there any injury that she sustained that is beyond the hands, the damage to her hands from the cuts, from the knife? And that's what you're looking at. If she hit her with an object, a dangerous instrument, a remote control, whatever, a lamp.
It could be, though. It could be presented as self-defense, and it could be a self-defense type of thing, because if her mother's social media shows how proud she was of her daughter and had, the photos of her daughter up, maybe she was really proud of her, and maybe it was just a fluke type thing. But I don't understand how we got to stabbing an 81-year-old woman at the age of 47 who was in the bed. I've noticed moms who are abusive to their kids sometimes change and are pretty amazing grandmas. It's almost like they become a completely different person. I've noticed that too. That's very true. Sometimes. I think it could be because they regret being so strict or abusive on their children, and they try to do over with the grandchildren. I think that happens a lot, honestly. Yep, look at the digital evidence. Your cell phone will tell all of your business. That's most definitely very important to remember.
Boom, 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 bam.
It's always the cell phone in these cases that get people caught up and tell the truth. Always.
Where is it? Where was that done? And right now, based on what you have, and there's a lot of speculation, there doesn't seem to be many injuries facially to her from her mugshot. So I don't know what else that she has. She can claim that she was injured by her mother, and that's why she defended herself with this knife. And also, what kind of self-defense you have? Could you have run out of the room? Could you have left? I mean, how fast could an 80-year-old woman come at you with a knife if that's going to be her concept of the story? But that's why you refute those statements with facts. And if they supported by facts, then they're supported by facts. Do people kill others based on self-defense? It does happen. But it's a totality of circumstances and the facts that are there that will determine whether or not it's self-defense or not.
Yeah, we'll see how this story plays out. Obviously very sad. I mean, you look at her career when she was in television, seemed like she was a, very accomplished anchor, and then what a fall from grace to now be at least accused in the murder of her own mom. Just an incredible story. Retired NYPD Detective David.
So that's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know how she's going to plead it. But I don't know how she's going to prove self-defense. It'll be interesting to find out. That's what my dad always says about my grandmother. Really? Rosie said, I'm listening. I tell my grandkids Sundays are lazy days. Well, I did that yesterday, was a lazy day. So now I'm catching up on cleaning. Awesome, awesome. We didn't have a lazy day yesterday, unfortunately. We've been very busy. Okay, so let's talk about David for a little bit. It appears that SF has some information on David. So we'll talk about him and see what's going on with the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. There's a case about a woman who was a social worker, taught anger management classes, who used a firearm on her pastor boyfriend and his wife because he forced her to have an abortion. Now that's a story. Really? That's interesting. What the Sam hell? Yeah, I know y'all told me that something was in Discord. I need to check that. Okay. I can't find it. We're about to talk about David for a minute. Okay. So 9 hours ago, SF said Reddit, which initially served as a decent source of information about the David Discord server, has now been completely overrun by people incapable of basic critical thinking. Lord, I can't even speak. He says, just look at the sheer stupidity in the screenshot someone sent me. They're claiming I said Celeste was never at the 2023, early 2024 Doheny house. I never said that. What I said clearly is that Celeste was not living at the house at the time of her death, since some people are falsely claiming David still had that property as a second lease. That house is owned by a music manager. It's been used as a luxury short-term rental through an Airbnb competitor, often leased as a content or streaming house. David didn't hold a lease there in 2025. Celeste wasn't living there. That's what I said. But Redditors like this, completely lacking the ability to think critically, twist that into me supposedly claiming she was never there at all. For the record, investigators, including myself, have been aware of that house since the first 48 hours of this case and have been in contact with the leasing agent and the owners. There are the same self-proclaimed, quote, Reddit detectives, unquote, who can't figure out that Esmeralda was at Knott's on a different day. And for those who still insist that David was at Six Flags, but Esmeralda somehow ended up at Build-A-Bear at Knott's instead of the Six Flags location, please explain how her Build-A-Bear certificate ended up at David's house on Doheny in the Hollywood Hills. Stop and think things through before choosing that as your hill to die on. It's embarrassing. Let's see. I wish I could zoom in. He's pointing out things in the background showing that they were at this rental place when they were streaming, but that's not the same house in the Hollywood Hills. Oh, yes. Let's talk about that. Okay. I forgot about it. Actually, we're going to go to X, where I was just at and just freaking left because my brain is not working. Probably should not have come live today because my brain's not working. My brain's not working. I want to warn you that when I look this up, we might see some graphic things. Okay. 1 hour ago, active shooter at the Shannon Library, University of Virginia. Scanner has climbed to over 4,500 listeners. University of Virginia is asking people to run and hide and fight possibly 2 suspects. From Charlottesville, Virginia. Lord have mercy. Here's the University of Virginia Police Division. 3:41 p.m. Police are continuing the investigation at Shannon Library. At this time, there is no evidence of an active attacker. Continue to run, hide, fight. 3:34. Police are currently at Shannon Library. Continue investigating. At this time, there is no evidence of an attacker. Okay. So that's good to know there's no evidence of an attacker. But here at 3:06, active attacker with firearm reported in area of Shannon Library, run, hide, fight. That's all we have on it. But the other, when we went here in the comments, they said there's no news of an active shooter. Numerous people are sheltering in place. An active alert was put out at 3:05 for active shooter. No evidence of shooter. It could all be a hoax. That was August 21st. That's just a picture. I'm not finding much on it. That's November 14th of 2022. It appears it could be a hoax. 2023, 2022, 2022. I'm thinking, yeah, that it's just a hoax. Let me see this other thing that you were talking about. Okay. No. This is from an hour ago, though. Florida man facing the death penalty for killing 18-year-old girlfriend, unborn child after she refused an abortion. A Florida man who killed his 18-year-old girlfriend and their unborn son after she refused to get an abortion is facing the death penalty. Donovan Faison, 23, was convicted last week of first-degree homicide of Caitlin Finnegan, of killing an unborn child, and burglary with a firearm. The jury later voted 11-1 to sentence Faison to death, the state attorney said in a news release on Friday. Faison shot Finnegan in the head as she sat in her car at Coastline Park in Sanford in 2022. Investigators discovered a bullet casing in an ultrasound image near Finnegan's body. At trial, prosecutors showed messages from the phones that showed Finnegan had texted Faison a photo of 2 positive pregnancy tests, to which he wrote back abortion. Faison erupted at the news of the pregnancy, feeling angry and pressured because he was living with another woman at the time who suspected him of cheating, according to prosecutors. When Finnegan refused to terminate the pregnancy, prosecutors said Faison texted a friend, "On my brother's grave, I'm going to crop her out." Further text messages showed Faison then lured Finnegan to a meeting at a park where he shot her dead. How disgusting. Oh, thank you for that, Shelby. How sick. Letitia Daniels, thank you for that. I'm going to try to find something on that. Let me star. I'm just going to star that so we can come back to it. Sweet Sativa said, personally, I believe it's trauma related, and I listen to these stories because it reminds me to be grateful I'm alive. That's a good perspective. It's good to see you, Sweet Sativa. I don't think you're where we're at, but thank you for that information, and that's a great perspective. During the sentencing hearing on Thursday, Finnegan's mother, father, aunt, and grandmother delivered victim impact statements. Quote, "No words can capture the depth of pain that comes with losing your daughter to homicide," said Finnegan's mother, Sarah Schwickert. Quote, "Every day, I wake up and face a world that no longer has her smile, her laughter, her hugs. The grief never leaves. It sits in my chest like a weight that will never go away." Faison's family also gave testimony to the jury, asking for the 23-year-old to be sentenced to life instead of the death penalty. Circuit Judge Donna Gorner will make the final decision on Faison's sentence at another hearing on December 5th. That's so sad. So sad. My God. Letitia Daniels. Tennessee, broke my heart homicide trial. Let's see. This was from a little while ago, but we'll see what it says. "You broke my heart. Police documents reveal new details in killing of Memphis pastor." We'll let AI read it.
A police report and affidavit reveals shocking details about the moments that led to a Memphis pastor being shot and killed inside his Collierville home. The shooting happened on April 4th at the Meridian Park Apartments in Collierville. Police were called to the area around 10:30 p.m. Officers said a man and woman were shot in what appeared to be a domestic situation. Rhodes Perry, the associate pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, was killed. His wife was also injured in the shooting. Original story: man shot to death at Collierville apartment complex identified as local staff pastor. Sources say police arrested Latashia Daniels and charged her with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, assault on a police officer, and resisting arrest. Investigators told Fox 13
So the fact that she got arrested for basically putting her hands on the police officer and all of that tells me that she was very emotionally unstable at the time. I mean, which we know because she committed a homicide, but like, I'm interested as to how the jury will rule in this case if they haven't already. We'll see if they have.
Tashia Daniels arrived at the apartment Thursday evening. Rhodes Perry's wife told police she allowed Daniels inside the apartment because she was an acquaintance that the couple knew while they were living in Little Rock, Arkansas. The woman said spoke with Daniels for about 30 minutes before her husband arrived at the apartment. Daniels talked with the couple for about 10 minutes before she reportedly started to leave the apartment. While the couple was escorting Daniels to the front door, she removed a handgun from her jacket and began to shoot Mr. Perry several times, according to the arrest affidavit. Perry.
So she came to the house, was talking to his wife and him, and then she shot him. Oh, thank you, Abellis. I'm glad that you like it. How very sweet. Thank you. Basil was eating crackers just now.
His wife told investigators Daniels repeatedly said, "You broke my heart," while she was shooting. The affidavit states Mrs. Perry then started to scream for help and bang on the neighbor's door to call the police. Daniels was allegedly walking towards the kitchen when she re-entered the apartment. As the pastor's wife knelt down to check on her husband, Daniels shot her in the shoulder and told her to get out the way, according to police. Download the Fox 13 Memphis app to receive alerts from breaking news in your neighborhood. Trending stories. Police documents state Rhodes was shot in the head and torso. The Perrys were taken to Regional 1, but Rhodes Perry died at the hospital. Police said Daniels would not put down the gun when they arrived, so an officer shot her with one round from a less lethal shotgun to disarm. Daniels was
So she was ready to die too.
taken to Baptist Memorial in Collierville. After being treated, police said Daniels tried to run away from officers when she was getting discharged from the hospital. When police told Daniels to place her hands behind her back, she allegedly jerked away, shoved the officer, and ran out of her room down the emergency room hall. Officers yelled for her to stop, but she continued through the door leading to the ICU part of the hospital, according to the arrest affidavit. Police caught up to her, but Daniels then allegedly grabbed an officer's shirt and started swinging, hitting one officer, according to CPD. Eventually, officers were able to roll her over onto her stomach and place her under arrest. Latashia Daniels will make her first court appearance on Tuesday.
If this is true, which I mean it is, why did she go through with the abortion? I'm wondering. So this reads Tennessee versus Letitia Shanta Daniels broke my heart homicide trial from what it says 1 day ago. I don't know if it's 1 day ago or not. Memphis, Tennessee. A Tennessee woman is standing trial on charges of homicide and attempted homicide after allegedly attacking a pastor and his wife. Letitia Daniels is charged with the 2019 homicide of Rhodes Perry. Letitia Shanta Daniels is charged with the first-degree homicide of Rhodes Perry and the attempted homicide of Perry's wife, Tabitha Perry, at their Collierville apartment on April 4th of 2019. She also faces charges of escape and resisting official detention for her alleged actions the day after the homicide. Police say Daniels, an acquaintance of a couple dating back to when they lived in Little Rock, had arrived at the home and spoke with the Perrys for approximately 40 minutes. When Tabitha went to escort Daniels out of the apartment, Daniels allegedly pulled a firearm from her jacket and shot Rhodes multiple times. Tabitha told the police that while shooting, Daniels repeated, "You broke my heart." Rhodes was shot multiple times in the head and torso and died at the hospital. When Tabitha knelt down to check on her husband, Daniels allegedly told her to get out of the way before shooting her in the shoulder and reloading her gun. Police determined the firearm used was a Ruger 9mm and it was loaded with 5 rounds when officers seized it. After her arrest, Daniels was being treated at the hospital when she allegedly tried to escape. Officers said they went to place her into handcuffs when she jerked away, shoved the officer, and took off running down the hall of the emergency room. Daniel is additionally accused of assaulting one of the officers after she was tackled. At the time of his death, Broads was the executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, WMC reported. Which is what we just heard. Pretty much the same thing. Let's see what this says. I don't know if we'll be able to watch it or not.
Good afternoon. Ms. Bailey. Good afternoon, Judge. Ms. Lou and our... We are still in the information gathering stage. I certainly have talked to Ms. Daniels. Unfortunately, and not unsurprisingly, I can't tell you what I know. And so at this point, we just are continuing with our not guilty plea, absolutely. We come back May 14th. That is a probable cause or preliminary hearing. It is not a trial. The state has to put on proof to show the judge that there's enough evidence for the case to go further. The date you gave us, May 20.
We have May 14th.
May 14th.
We have May 28th. We have June 11th. And we have June 25th.
Why is she crying?
It was set the 14th, and if she's in surgery, you'll let address. That's all right.
So the request is May 14th. Mr. Gilbert's witness may have a health issue that would prohibit her from being here. If that, in fact, does occur, we'll address the court prior to the 14th. She's not used to being where she is. She's not feeling very well. She's accused of the most serious crime a person can be accused of. She understands the gravity of it, and I think her emotions are appropriate.
So she's crying, yeah, for herself because she's in jail. It says a grand jury indicted an Arkansas woman Tuesday on first-degree homicide and attempted first-degree homicide in the death of Memphis pastor Broads Perry, according to the Shelby County District Attorney's Office. Letitia Daniels, who is 40, is accused of killing Perry, who was 36, and shooting his wife Tabitha, who was 42, at their Collierville apartment on April 4th near South Houston Levee Road and Bill Morris Parkway. Perry and Daniels knew each other when they lived in Little Rock, Arkansas. Daniels drove to Perry's home, confronting him and his wife on the ending of their relationship. Daniels and the couple had talked for another 10 minutes when Daniels said it was late and got up to leave, with the couple following behind her. Police say she turned and pulled a handgun from her coat and fired several shots, saying, "You broke my heart." We've read the rest. Broads Perry was shot multiple times. Tabitha Perry was shot in the shoulder. Daniels is a licensed social worker and the owner of the Root Behavioral Health, according to Arkansas State records, and specializes in anger management. Daniels was also indicted on employment of a firearm in the commission of a dangerous felony. Perry was a former pastor of Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. Attorney appears. Slang posts new challenges for love without limits mantra. What is this? We got about 10 minutes before the sentencing. Evidently. But I mean, okay, if a pastor asks you to have an abortion, my God, that's so fucked up. Was the baby she was carrying the pastor's or someone else? Maybe that's why she said, "You broke my heart." Perhaps she had an affair and the child isn't the pastor's. No, I think she was the girlfriend, and the pastor, it was the pastor's baby? Miss Anita, if I'm understanding. Supposedly the baby was his. They had an affair for several years, said Miss Cindy. Maybe don't end people if you don't like jail. I mean, at the end of the day, exactly.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Stop ending people and we won't have to be like...
She been gone.
She been gone. You know what I mean? I don't even know. Okay. This says, no, it doesn't say. Okay. Pastor Slaying poses new challenges for his church's Love Without Limits mantra. Huh. There he is again. At Jefferson Street and Bellevue Avenue in Midtown, a banner of a beaming the Reverend Dr. Lawrence Turner, senior pastor of Mississippi Boulevard Church, and his wife Bridget greets passerbys with the words "Love Without Limits." From what I can tell, the church works to live up to that. In April of 2017, it welcomed hundreds of youth into its sanctuary to listen to Memphis officials tell them how they should love themselves enough not to kill their own future. Later in October, it hosted the first Moral Monday table talk dinner as a prelude to the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. The people who packed in the dining hall talked more than they ate, and most talked about doing more to embrace people struggling to eat, to pay rent, and to raise children on low wages. And those are just the gatherings I happen to attend. But now Mississippi Boulevard must channel the love that it uses to uplift the community toward itself, especially since the violence that it tries to fight with faith recently shattered its safe space. The church's executive pastor, 36-year-old Burns Perry, was fatally shot in his Collierville apartment last week while his wife Tabitha was wounded. According to police, the woman accused of Perry shot him several times, yelling, "You broke my heart." Since Perry's slaying, social media posts have dripped with salaciousness about alleged romantic involvements, compounding the tragedy not only for those lives he touched, but sparking bewilderment and a sense of betrayal. So the church must not only figure out how to comfort the congregants who are struggling with the pain of losing Perry, but how to ease the pain of seeing the life of a pastor they loved viewed through the prism of scandal. To do that, Mississippi Boulevard seems to be sticking to what it knows: love. Love was what I witnessed Wednesday afternoon in the standing room only crowd in the church's chapel during a memorial to Perry. One speaker talked about the power of the bonds of Christian love before everyone began singing, "You are my strength, strength like no other, you lift me up." Even though I was barred from the memorial before I could hear the rest of the song, a church official told me they didn't want journalists inside. People continued to file into the chapel once a chair or a space to stand near the wall was freed up. As they continued to arrive, because unlike many on the outside looking for answers as to why Perry's life was over, they were looking for love and strength that they would need to remember what their pastor meant to their lives. If they can focus on that, then they can blunt the pain of his loss compounded by scandal. Quote, "They're recognizing through memorial service that this man's life is not defined by the tragic way in which it ended," said Peter Gathery, Vice President of Academic Affairs and Professor of Christian Ethics at Memphis Theological Seminary. Quote, "They're recognizing that it is defined by a journey of faith, and in anybody's journey," dang it, I clicked it. Oh, don't you do that to me. Don't do that to me. Bitch. Dang it. Well, I guess that was that. Hmm. Here, this one's from July 20th of 2021. She got a new defense attorney.
Need a pee.
Hold on, y'all. I got to get Mr. Speculating a pen real quick. I'm trying to find you one that writes. That one's a good one that writes in black. Most of my pens write in funky colors. Okay. We'll watch this, and I'll go ahead and pull up and see, so I can watch for Emmanuel Haro sentencing. Jake Haro, I meant.
When it comes to football, you got to be tough. Just like the way NS.
No, I don't want to hear you talk about football right now. And injury attorneys. Hold on a minute.
The Arkansas woman accused of killing.
Let me pause this. So Kim said, I'm 2 hours and 40 minutes behind. I strive to give my kids better than I had, and now I'm a grandma. I try to do better with my grandson than what my kids had, if that makes sense. It absolutely does. I know a lot of people who do that. Yep. I sing that to elevators. You lift me up. Abellis, I just imagined you singing that to elevators. You're so funny.
The executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church is getting a new lawyer. Latasha Daniels is accused of killing executive pastor Brodie Perry at his Collierville apartment in April of 2019. Well-known defense attorney Leslie Ballin had taken her case. Well, now the Daily Memphian is reporting that today Ballin asked to be removed from that case because the two disagree on how the case should move forward. Daniels says she cannot afford a new lawyer, so a judge is now going to assign a new one to her case.
When it comes to football, you got to be tough. Just like the way NST handles car wreck cases. Just stick.
Lord have mercy in the morning. We're over here waiting for this to start. And I've got it pulled up on my phone too. Okay, that's what's going on. I was like, what is so loud? So she's I said she's being a brat. Oh. She's demanding a new defense attorney. Like, it sounds like she's being difficult. She can't agree on what should happen with her sentence and how they should proceed. That's interesting. All right, we're live. You think it's the name Letitia? My kids had way better than I did. I promise that. We had our hard times still, but it was still but it was still better. Yeah, I think that happens. Sarah Boone 2.0, right? The Wolfpack? I think that happens a lot. As grandparents, we're able to do better for grandchildren. I'm not a grandparent yet, but I can see that. And that's why grandchildren are spoiled and treated better than we treated our children, and it's not necessarily intentional. It's that you're able to do more and you try to be better for your grandchildren. And I think it's a wonderful thing. That's why I think extended family in people's lives is so important. And we don't have that much anymore, you know. It's not like it used to be where family lived with extended family all in one household and everything was fine and everybody got along for the most part. We don't have that much anymore. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I think the dynamic between grandparents and grandchildren is very, very special. Something to be cherished for sure. Almost killed one child and killed the second child. He deserves no mercy. Mark is in the courtroom. Did you see him? I'm sure he is. I know he wouldn't miss it. So I apologize. I had to mute. Abella said Mark is there. Cool. Dandy said Mark's been there since this morning. Let me drop his link. I knew Mark would be there and he wouldn't miss it. Let me mute this. I mean, I can't. They're probably going to make it where I have to take this part out, but I'll take it out, I guess. So Mark the Shark, quickly, is there. This is his page where he's talked about the case extensively, also the David case out of California. And I want to drop his link. Doing good things over there. No, courts do not usually play music. Court TV does, so that people who are streaming them can't, I guess. I don't know. They should turn it off in a minute. You would think. Usually they do. I've had it happen once before and thought the same thing, like, oh no, is Court TV going to play music the whole time? But then they turned it off. Oh, see? Look. Speaking things into existence over here. That's why you should like and subscribe. Basil. Basil wanting all the attention. Basil, my love.
Please remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session.
Come to order, speculating family. Come to order. Remain seated and come to order. I got him some bandanas today that were marked down, some Halloween bandanas. I'm going to try to get a picture. All right, let me hush.
With the sentencing in the Jake Haro matter, again, announcing to the public there are no use of cell phones, no recording except for the pool camera. There will be no comments about the case while the court is in session. No outbursts, and please follow the instructions given by our
Can't say hola. Hola.
With that, calling the matters of Jake Haro. Appearances, please.
Thank you. I'll wait for Mr. Haro. He is sitting right next to me at council table. And thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Allison Lowe, also on behalf of Jake Haro.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. William Robinson for the people.
Good afternoon. Brandon Smith for the people.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Mr. Haro. And this is the time and place set for sentencing. Are both sides ready to go forward at this time?
Yes.
And the court has read and considered the sentencing memorandums provided by Ms. Garthwaite and Ms. Lowe, as well as Mr. Smith and Mr. Robinson, as well as the probation report. At this time, does either side want to be heard further? Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, any victim impact statements for the court to consider?
There will be no victim impact statements.
Okay. And Ms. Garthwaite, Ms. Lowe?
Your Honor, I just wanted to very briefly reiterate the defense objection to imposing court fees and fines. Mr. Haro is indigent. He's the public defender client. I believe that the court is going to sentence him to a lengthy sentence. And prior to his arrest, he was unable to work and was receiving disability. So we would object to the court imposing any court fees and fines. If the court is going to assess a restitution fine, it is based, or the defense requests that based on the indigency, that the court set it no higher than $300, which is the minimum.
Okay. And Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, do you want to be heard in regards to that?
Yes, I'd say that While I intend to submit in large part on the sentencing memorandum I filed with the court, I do want to reiterate that while I understand the court has some discretion in this matter regarding the sentence and the fines and fees, I want to emphasize the fact that this defendant deserves no leniency in any regards as to sentence or as to fines and fees. The court is well aware of how this case began with the defendants standing in front of law enforcement and the public and creating this public panic about a child being kidnapped, and the resources that were expended in order to investigate those lives of the defendant need to be addressed in this sentence as well. So I would ask that the court recognize that in deciding how much to assess the defendant in fines and fees, as well as in exercising its discretion regarding the appropriate sentence in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anything further before the court begins its sentence?
No, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm sorry, we've had, I guess, a change of opinion. So the Emmanuel Haro's grandmother has now asked to address the court about the sentence.
Okay. And are you ready at this time?
Ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. And Mr. Smith, if we can have an introduction, please.
Yes, so this is Emmanuel Haro's maternal grandmother, and her first name is Mary, M-A-R-Y.
What spells it?
And I'll have her spell her last name.
B-U-S-H-A-U-S-E-M.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you for being here today. And ma'am, I want to make sure that I hear everything that you have to say, that our court reporter can take down everything that you have to say, and that we have an accurate record. We've cleared our entire afternoon, so you don't feel the need to be rushed. So whenever you're ready, if you could speak loudly and clearly and slowly for us. But whenever you're ready.
I want Jake to look at me. I want him to face me.
And ma'am, if you can address the court.
I would like for him to face me, to look at me.
Okay.
And ma'am, if you could speak up as loud as you can, please.
I wanted Jake to face me, to look at me, because I told him that I would be here for his sentencing before he was arrested. I talked to him about, as a friend, to tell me everything, because he didn't give me the opportunity to meet my grandson. He destroyed my whole family. He branded his children for life. He damaged her children, all his children for life. And in doing that, he destroyed my family, my children, everybody in my family. All my children are destroyed by this. He changed my daughter where we don't know who she is. He never gave me a chance to see my grandchildren. He kept my daughter away. I don't know what he did or how he changed my daughter's life. But she was never that same person after she went to live with him. The only reason Rebecca came back, because in March I had a stroke. And my son got hold of her and told her I was in ICU. That's how I met Mackenzie, my 2-year-old granddaughter. I didn't even know she existed. Because I was not aware that she was pregnant with Mackenzie. I was not aware that she was pregnant with Emmanuel. I never met Emmanuel. You know, he deprived everybody. And it has hurt my children because the media has torn all of my children apart, okay? Because they say, Grandma knows, Grandma isn't on it, Grandma doesn't know nothing. If I had known what was going on, I would have take my daughter out of there forcefully, or I would have called the police. My sons would have come and got her, okay? Never did we ever knew anything. If I had known when I called social service when Rebecca moved in, I called social service to let them know that I didn't like him. That because my granddaughter Irene was afraid. She didn't want to be there. She called me, she says, Grandma, I don't want to be there. Okay, so I called social service. I asked social service to give me a report of what had happened, what they found out. Oh no, she's fine, the house is beautiful, they have food in the fridge, that's it. Had social service come and told me what he had done to promise his other children. Nothing of this would be here. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. My grandchildren, Emmanuel wouldn't be gone. Mackenzie wouldn't have been born. Because he had already done a lot of horrible things to his other children. He branded those children for life. And in the same way, branded all my children too. Because I can't go nowhere without they asking me. Every time I go to the store or somebody recognizes me, they attack me, you know, on social media, everywhere. And that is not my doing or my children. This has been horrible for us. I was glad the day that got arrested because I fear for my daughter's life, I fear for everybody. And, you know, he had a second chance. My daughter didn't have a chance with him. Or his children. His children didn't have a second chance. And I think the judge that let him go should be here sitting with him. And so is social service. Because they could have told me, oh no, protocol doesn't allow us to tell you anything. Well, how are we supposed to protect our children if we don't know? The court knows what's going on. I didn't know. I called social service. I didn't know what he had done to his other children. And here he sits, you know, like nothing. Somebody will give him another chance. And I don't want that. Because he didn't give his children a chance. He didn't give my daughter a chance to be happy to take care of her children, okay? My 20-year-old granddaughter, my 18-year-old granddaughter are a mess because of him. Mackenzie, it's totally changed, a little baby, a 2-year-old girl that has nothing, okay? I'm very, very stressed out, very angry at the justice system for letting this guy, giving him a chance. Who gave my grandchildren a chance, a second chance? Did CPS check? Why didn't they tell me? Oh look, this is what that guy does. He takes it out on the children, on the baby. He can't do it to a grown person. He's not man enough to do it to a man, okay? He destroys so many lives. His mom, his brother, everybody, okay? Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wanted to come and look at it. But I had to speak for my grandson and my grandchildren, and for my children too, because they're going through every hell in this world, okay?
Mom.
I didn't mourn my grandson that he passed away. We buried him on the 5th of August, and they were saying that, oh, we probably bury Emmanuel in my grandson's, when we bury my grandson, okay? I lost my grandson on the 5th. We buried my grandson on the 5th of August. Then he calls me on the 14th of August and says that Emmanuel is kidnapped. And then my sister passes on the 17th of August. We didn't have a chance to mourn any of my sister, my grandson, my other grandson, none. Because everybody was angry at everybody because how could this happen? Why? I wish you could look at me and tell me why. He was never in my house. He knew I didn't like him. He knew I called social service, and that's why he kept my daughter away. He changed her so she couldn't have no contact with me or his brothers, okay? Had I had not had a stroke, I would have never met McKinsey or, probably heard it on the news about Imani, okay? So don't blame my children. The media has blamed my children, everybody. The TikTokers, everybody. Grandma Mary knows. I don't know nothing, okay? And I stand here with you, asking you to give him the maximum. Because I don't want him to give him another chance. He didn't give nobody a chance. He had many chances. He had a chance. The judge gave him a second chance. The probation gave him another chance. The CPS, oh well, no, he's fine. He's got food in the fridge and the house is clean. That doesn't cut it, okay? And that's not fair to the children to let somebody out like that. And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm just very, very upset and very stressed out.
And ma'am, no need to apologize. This proceeding here is for you to make your impact statement to talk about how the crime has affected you and your family. I do want to lead with, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for all the hurt that you and your family have gone through.
A lot of hurt.
And I want to thank you for being here today.
I'm here because I'm the only one that wanted to be here because my children don't trust themselves to come in and talk because they're so upset, so angry at this system, what they did. How could they give him a second chance when you see the pictures of the little girl? How? That's beyond me. You get two drunk driving tickets and you go to jail or you pay a goddamn fine. And he, a slap on the hand, go and do community work. Okay? How does that happen, Your Honor? I want to know how did that happen.
Anything else, ma'am?
No. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, any other impact statements on behalf of the people?
No, thank you.
Ms. Garthwaite, Ms. Lowe, no impact statements on behalf of the defense?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
And submitting on your motion?
Yes.
Submitting on your motion?
Yes.
So the court is now going to pronounce judgment at this time. Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Smith, are you okay if I sentence on all three together, all three cases?
Yes.
Yes.
This time, this court, having taken the defendant's plea, having read and considered the probation report, and having seen, heard, and considered the evidence and arguments of counsel at the sentencing hearing, as well as taking judicial notice of its own records, hereby pronounces the sentence as described in this order. The court imposes an aggregate sentence of 180 days and 6 years, 8 months, plus 25 years to life and fines as specified. As I will explain shortly, the sentence of 180 days and 6 years and 8 months will be determinate. The 25 years to life is indeterminate and will be described at this time. Probation is denied. Because Mr. Haro was on probation for a felony offense at the time he committed the serious and violent offenses of murder and assault on a child under 8 causing death, he is ineligible for probation pursuant to Penal Code Section 1203. Accordingly, probation is denied. In regards to the terms of imprisonment, this case involves the imposition of determinate terms and indeterminate terms. The court will first address the indeterminate terms. I did read the briefing submitted by Ms. Lowe and Ms. Garthwaite, as well as by Mr. Smith and Mr. Robinson. For count 1, in case FERI 2504-808-1, murder in the second degree, the court imposes the only term provided by law of 15 years to life. The court notes that the amended complaint filed by the people lists the punishment for count 1 as 25 to life, which would suggest that the charge is first-degree murder, but we did have a discussion at the last hearing regarding those sentence or that charge, and that is in the second degree. So I want to make sure that that's clear, Mr. Smith and Ms. Lowe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Accordingly, the court orders the designation of the 25 to life stricken from the amended complaint. For count 3, in case FERI 2504-808-1, assault on a child under 8 causing death, the court imposes the only term provided by law of 25 years to life. The court finds that counts 1 and 3, in case ending in 808-1, are based on the same act. An act or omission that is punishable in different ways by different provisions of law may be punished under either of such provisions, but in no case shall the act or omission be punished under more than one provision. Accordingly, the court stays the punishment for count 1, the murder charge, pursuant to Section 654. The court declines to stay the punishment for count 3 instead of count 1, pursuant to Section 654. Mr. Haro, through his attorneys, urges the court to stay the higher punishment because he acknowledged wrongdoing and pled guilty at an early stage of the criminal process, which is a mitigating factor under the rules of court. And the court does not find this to be a compelling reason to select the 15-year to life term in lieu of the 25-year to life term. While Mr. Haro did plead guilty at an early stage in the proceedings, this does not outweigh the significant and considerable aggravating factors that he has admitted to. It cannot be ignored that Mr. Haro was on probation for severely abusing one child when he decided to assault and kill another child. Further, the court notes that Mr. Haro was out on bail in 2 cases, including one for abusing his daughter when he killed baby Emmanuel. And the fact that Mr. Haro pled guilty at an early stage, while not insignificant, cannot overcome the horrific nature of the circumstances here. Given the admissions Mr. Haro himself has made with respect to aggravating factors, accordingly, I will impose the indeterminate term of 25 years to life. Mr. Haro has also been convicted of 3 felony charges with determinate sentences. The court selects the child abuse charge, 273A from case BAF 2101265-2 to be the principal offense. The court orders executed the previously imposed term of 6 years, which is the upper term. As will be explained, the court orders the determinate punishments to run consecutively to the punishment imposed in felony case ending in 808-1. In case BAF 2400717, Mr. Haro has pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm pursuant to Penal Code Section 29800 and ammunition under Penal Code Section 3305. offenses are based on his possession of a loaded firearm, which is a single act. Accordingly, the court stays punishment for count 2, the possession of ammunition charge, pursuant to section 654. For the firearm possession charge of count 1, I will impose a subordinate term of 8 months, which is 1/3 of the midterm, to run consecutively to the principal term. When determining whether to impose consecutive or concurrent sentences, the rules of court provide several factors for the court to consider. The factors related to the crime include whether or not, 1, the crimes and their objectives were predominantly independent of each other. 2, the crimes and their the crimes involved separate acts or threats of violence. Or 3, the crimes were committed at different times or separate places, rather than being committed so closely in time and place as to indicate a single period of terrible behavior. The court may also consider any aggravating or mitigating circumstances in deciding whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences, except that the court may not impose a consecutive sentence based on 1, a fact used to impose the upper term, or 2, a fact used to otherwise enhance the defendant's sentence, and 3, a fact that is an element of the crime. The consecutive punishments are appropriate here because the crimes and their objectives were independent of each other, involved separate acts, and were committed at different times, indeed over the course of many years. Accordingly, the court imposes all felony punishments to run consecutively to each other. Mr. Haro has also pled guilty to a misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report in count 2 in felony case ending 08. For this misdemeanor offense, the court imposes a term of 180 days to be served in any penal institution. Having imposed the terms as explained, the court hereby imposes an aggregate term of 180 days and 6 years, 8 months, plus 25 years to life in state prison. I do want to touch on my discretion in case there was any question. Looking back on this in the future, were the voters or the legislature to amend any statutes, or were there to be any decisional law in the future that would grant this court any additional discretion in sentencing, and which might benefit Mr. Haro, this court would decline to exercise any such additional discretion to lower or mitigate Mr. Haro's sentence. The court has weighed and balanced all the aggravating and mitigating factors in this case and considered all circumstances such that the court believes the current sentence is just and appropriate. Mr. Haro's conduct and culpability in the offense against his own children lead the court to conclude that Mr. Haro's sentence today is fully justified without future downward modification, even should the legislature provide such discretion. In regards to the fines, the court will impose a restitution fine of $10,000. The court finds the maximum fine is appropriate given the number of felonies the defendant was convicted of and the number of years he is being ordered to serve. The court imposes the parole revocation restitution fine in the amount of $10,000 as well. This fine is stayed unless and until parole is revoked. I will impose the court security fees as well as the penalties. The court additionally imposes the state penalty of $10 for every $10 or part of $10 upon every fine imposed. The state penalty assessment of 20% of the base fine, the court operations assessment of $40 for each conviction, and the court facilities assessment of $30 for each conviction. Ms. Lowe, I will take note of your request under Duenas. And at this time, those fines and fees will be imposed, but stay the execution pursuant to Duenas. In regards to restitution, the court orders victim restitution to be paid in any amount that may be determined in the future. Mr. Haro is also ordered to pay interest at a rate of 10% per annum, accruing as of October 12th of 2018 in case DAF ending 265, as of July 27th, 2024 in DAF ending in 717, and as of August 14, 2025, in felony case ending in 808-1. Mr. Haro is hereby advised the restitution orders shall be enforceable as if they were civil judgments. Mr. Haro, I'm going to advise you of the following at this time. You are advised of your right to appeal. The notice of appeal must be filed within 60 days after the rendition of the judgment or the making of the order being appealed. You are also advised that if you are indigent, you are entitled to appointment of counsel upon request. Sir, I'm also advising you of your requirement to provide buccal swab samples, right thumbprints, and a whole palm print impression of each hand and any blood specimens or other biological samples. Sir, also advising you that as a result of these convictions, you are prohibited from owning, purchasing, receiving, possessing, or having under your custody or control any firearms, ammunition, or body armor. You are also ordered to relinquish any firearms. Sir, I'm advising you, and I went over this at your plea, that if you are not a citizen of the United States, these convictions will have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of naturalization pursuant to federal law. You're also advised that at the expiration of the term of imprisonment here imposed, you may be released on parole unless the Board of Prison Terms waives parole for good cause. If parole is granted, the period of parole shall be for 3 years. Now, sir, going over your credits, and Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, I believe we went over these this morning, but just want to make sure that I have the correct credits. Sir, in BAF, case ending in 017, you have credits of 72 plus 72 for a total of 144 days. Mr. Smith, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, do you agree?
Yes.
In case ending in 265, your banning case, you have credits for 167 days actual plus 166 days 4019 for a total of 333.
Yes.
And lastly, sir, in the case, your newest case ending in 808, your Riverside case, you have credits of 74 days actual plus 0 days good time credit for a total of 74 days.
Yes.
So to reiterate the final disposition, Mr. Haro, you are hereby sentenced to serve 180 days and 6 years, 8 months to terminate. You are ordered to serve 25 years to life in the state prison for the child abuse perpetrated against CH, unlawfully possessing a firearm and ammunition after having been convicted of such a heinous crime, and for the senseless assault and murder of the abandoned. While no sentence can possibly vindicate the loss of innocence and life at the hands of Mr. Haro, the man who was supposed to protect these precious and defenseless children against evil and harm, the sentence here is the most the court can do to ensure that as much justice is done as possible. To that end, the court imposes the aforementioned terms of imprisonment, fines, and penalties and assessments, and I will be filing a written order of today's sentence. Anything else at this time before I sentence him or order him transported forthwith? Ms. Lowe or Ms. Garthwaite?
No, thank you for that. I have a point of clarification, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to inquire, it's my understanding that the court did impose the $10,000 restitution fine that stated that person was paying us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, Mr. Haro, I am going to order that you are transported forthwith by the Department of Corrections for housing in the state prison. And Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, before you leave, there was an issue that we had kicked over to today's date in regards to the violation of probation and the subpoenaed documents. Mr. Robinson, Mr. Smith, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, how would you like to proceed with those documents?
It's my request that be put over to the January 21st FSC date I did tell defense counsel for Mr. Haro that I would notify them. I'd like to address who has standing to object to those on that particular day.
Anytime that third-party documents are subpoenaed to a court, there's a procedure where the court has to determine if there's good cause and conduct an in-camera hearing, and that's with or without an objection. But I already did object to the release and asked that the court follow that process of the last court proceeding. If the court would like me here in January to make that same record, I'm happy to do so.
So you made the record. It was my understanding that there might be a request that those documents were not needed. So we'll continue the matter to January 21st. I'll note your objection. In between now and then, I'll review the documents for materiality. Mr. Smith, if you can let me know if you plan to continue to use those documents. If you're not going to use the documents, then I will not review them and we'll keep them downstairs. But if they are going to be released, I will review them for materiality.
Based on my limited understanding of what's in those documents, I do believe it's possible. I would like to use them, so I asked the court to review them.
Okay, so I'll review them by the next court date, and then Ms. Lowe and Mr. Smith will have further conversations, and we'll figure out, Ms. Lowe, if it's necessary for you to appear on that January 21st date, as well as you, Ms. Garfield. Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Haro has some paperwork to take back with him. And so we want to make sure, I don't think that we ever made an order that he can have paperwork transported back and forth.
I'll make an order that he be allowed to transport his legal paperwork to and from court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, court to recess up. You have to step outside, please.
Cameron?
Okay, I think he will be diagnosed, like go to basically booking first. I think he'll go to booking first, but I'm not sure. He's going to be reprimanded to the prison system. He was mad and he was saying some shit, right? So he was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months for the probation violation, and then 180 days for filing a false police report, and then 25 years to life with Emmanuel's homicide. He's not eligible for probation because he was on probation when he committed the homicide of Emmanuel. However, if he gets paroled, he can get parole. He can be on parole for 3 years. So it totals 32 years and 2 months with the 25 years, the 6 years and 8 months, and then 180 days. I got $2,000 restitution and then $10,000. I don't know if I misunderstood 10,000 and thought they said 2,000. I know the 10,000 is restitution. I think the 2,000 was some other kind of fine or something. So he's going to be in there for 32 years. And if he's in his 30s now, that puts him getting out at the ripe old age of 60 something. Florida, yeah, hers was postponed until Rebecca's hearing is postponed until January 21st, and she's still sticking to the Ola story. Screaming Daisy's good to see you. We haven't found Emmanuel's body, unfortunately, and we probably never will because he didn't have to admit to where Emmanuel's body was. Now, with him taking the plea of second-degree homicide, he probably did think he was going to get less of a charge. The maximum for second-degree homicide is 15 years to life. And he probably thought he was looking at 15, not 25. But that 15 years to life, I think the judge went to the other end of that and said mandatory 25 years to life. I think that's what he was upset about because we looked it up, and for second degree, it should be 15 years to life, not 25 to life. I think that the DA might have made some kind of backdoor deal with him just to secure a conviction and get him to plead guilty so they could be done with it. But they kind of trick fucked him. And he thought that he was getting less of a sentence than he actually got. He's probably going to appeal it. And I hope that this wasn't just for show and he appeals it and gets a lesser sentence. I hope that doesn't happen. It should be life without the possibility of parole unless they tell where bodies are. That's the way they should make it. Well, I mean, a plea of guilty. I think there was a plea deal, but to be yes, you're right. And Abraham, he pled to guilty, but I'm still leaning toward the DA did something. The DA definitely reduced the charge from first degree homicide to second degree homicide, and I've got a problem with that. So maybe I'm wording it wrong. However, I am pleased with the sentence. Not after that first offense, right? Didn't he claim to have put him in the trash, or was that a rumor? That's what was said to a jail inmate. Now, California said that that's not true. He had not confessed, et cetera, but people like the Riverside County former DA said, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And they didn't want to admit it, which I get that, them not wanting to admit it because it could jeopardize the case. Hey, little bit of Lisa. Judges don't have to accept plea deals. They tricked Paul Ferguson like that too, did they? Did they? I didn't know that. I didn't realize. I don't remember how long Paul Ferguson got. That was for Chandra Vander Ark, right? Who was an attorney. That was an interesting one. Yeah, give them an incentive to tell where the body is. Like, we need to know. Jenny Jen said probably because he was on probation, which added an aggravating factor. Yeah. And Carolina Rose was the 1109, which was an aggravating factor. Dang, I don't remember. Let's see. Hold on just a minute. I wanted to see if he was live yet. He doesn't appear to be. He was live outside an hour ago. Hold on. I'll pull it up real quick. It was just a short live he did outside of the courthouse. We'll watch it while we talk before I go. I believe he put him in the trash too. Honestly. I hope there's some prison justice served on him as well. I do. He deserves it. If anybody does. He was pissed though, wasn't he? Like, he was real bad mad.
You guys, what's going on? What is going on? Live from the courthouse.
He was real bad, pissed off. I can't remember how to redirect. I was going to see if Mark was going live. Street justice?
No, I was hearing that earlier. He's not bonded out. That dude's still in there with his shackles on there. He's waiting to get the hand of God handed to him.
He just went live, did he?
No sound?
Okay.
Hold on.
Let me see. No, I don't see it yet. Oh, he's got memberships. That's good. I'm gonna have to buy a membership to his channel. I know he'll be live soon. Little Bit said, I don't think there is prison justice anymore. Too many in there for those things. I haven't heard about any lately, but I don't know. I am going to have to get going so I can make dinner. Yes, please go sub to Mark's channel. I hope that he gets justice. I hope we get prison justice. He was pissed. Like, he genuinely thought he was going to get off on this too. I'm glad the state of California said, abso-fucking-lutely not this time. Absolutely not. Not after what happened to Promise Rose. Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you, Banana Bottom. How sweet. Thank you. Yeah, definitely do. It was kind of off the cuff today, all over the place. There is Mark's link. Yeah, thank you, Mustang, for being here. And I know Mark will be going live probably any time now to talk about what just happened. He might be live now. I don't know. It might not be showing up on my end. I'm not sure. But I'm going to have to go ahead and go because I have to get dinner started and I've got to go put the geese up. I hope that y'all have a good day. I appreciate y'all watching this with me and hanging out all the way till the end, as we were very off the cuff today. Tomorrow will be much more planned out. That singer that was convicted of child essay got shamed not long ago. He was filed. Oh, really? Okay. Well, then that's good. Oh, Blue Jay, I'm sorry I missed you, love. Yeah, I got to go, unfortunately. But thank you guys for being here. I heard that inmates make these freaks wait, scared for years sometimes. Good gracious. All right, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. It won't be as off the cuff. It'll be a lot more planned out. Good night. I hope y'all all have a good evening. I second all of those. Make sure you check out Mark, subscribe if you haven't. Like I said, I know he'll be going live at some point to talk about this. Oh, yep, he's live already. Damn, I wish I could redirect y'all. I don't know how to do it. Let me share. All right, I'm going to do my outro. Here is the link to Mark's live so that you guys can go watch him talk about Jake Haro being sentenced. And I'll try to be in and out as I cook. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the support. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. Stay safe until we see. Hold on, I started it too soon. Stay safe until we see each other again, and know that you are enough, you are important, you are special, and you are loved. And I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, y'all. Bye.